Chapter 4397. At this moment, Lu Ming and the others set off. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Dandan left the earth vein. The three of them took away more than 1,000 pill furnaces. Autumn Moon, Bubbles, and Yiling continued to refine pills. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Dandan left the earth vein and headed north. There was a high-grade earth vein there that contained extremely dense desolate qi. It was probably half as dense as the one they had previously occupied. Naturally, they could not let it go. Soon, they arrived at the earth vein. Along the way, they heard that Yichu Tianji and the other sons of heaven had indeed left the Star Palace. This made Lu Ming and the others feel relieved. From afar, the desolate qi in this earth vein was extremely dense. It should be able to refine another 3 to 4 billion desolate pills. Without hesitation, the three of them charged into the earth vein. However, as soon as the three of them got close to the earth vein, they were discovered by the heavenly human tribe. "It's Mu Yun! It's them! Oh no, set up the 9 heavens battle formation!" The heavenly human tribe in the earth vein roared. 2 groups of people quickly gathered and set up the 9 heavens battle formation. There were more than 200 people in the 2 groups. Among them, there were many 9th-level divine gods. The 9 heavens battle formation was also very powerful. However, Lu Ming and the others had Dandan. They had brought Dandan with them to deal with the 9 heavens battle formation. Lu Ming had brought Xian Yanqing and Dandan with a purpose. In terms of battle strength, Xian Yanqing was the highest. It was enough to bring Xian Yanqing along. They brought Dandan with them to break the 9 heavens battle formation of the heavenly human tribe. This combination was almost perfect. As expected, Dandan attacked. Dense runes spread out and quickly broke the 9 heavens battle formation of the heavenly human tribe. Then, Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming rushed over. In fact, Xian Yanqing alone was enough to deal with them. With a wave of her hand, black lotus flowers appeared one after another. The petals of the lotus flowers were sharper than the sharpest divine weapons. They tore through the air and shot toward the celestial race. In an instant, dozens of heavenly humans were killed. "Let's go! Run!" The remaining members of the heavenly human tribe panicked, including the 2 prodigies of the heavenly human tribe who possessed 9-star battle prowess. Their faces were filled with horror as they fled into the distance. "You won't be able to leave! All of you stay here! Heavenly Demon Domain!" Xian Yanqing's cold voice rang out. A special domain spread out, instantly enveloping the entire earth vein, including the heavenly humans. In the heavenly demon domain, the heavenly human tribe members would be greatly suppressed. At the same time, countless sharp lotus petals danced in the sky within the heavenly demon territory. Puff! Puff! The heavenly human tribe members were killed one by one. Even the 2 prodigies of the heavenly human tribe who possessed 9-star battle prowess were no match for Xian Yanqing. In an instant, hundreds of heavenly human tribe members were killed. "I haven't even made a move yet," Lu Ming muttered. Xian Yanqing was too fast. Before Lu Ming could make a move, all the heavenly human tribe members had been killed. He had reached the 9th layer of the Great God Realm and possessed 12-star battle prowess. He was so powerful that he was almost invincible among the Great God Realm. Unless Lu Ming broke through to the 9th layer of the Great God Realm, he would be able to suppress Xian Yanqing. To put it bluntly, an ordinary cultivator of the 1st layer of the Great God Realm would have to avoid such a battle prowess. The gap between the Great God Realm and the Great God Realm was even bigger and harder to cross. However, it was not impossible to cross it. A top prodigy of the 9th layer of the Great God Realm with 9-star battle prowess could definitely contend with an ordinary 1st layer of the Great God Realm. With Xian Yanqing's battle prowess, it would be easy for him to suppress an ordinary 1st layer of the Great God Realm. After killing the heavenly human tribe members, Dandan set up a formation and summoned flames to burn the corpses of the heavenly human tribe members. Of course, the storage rings were all in their hands. However, they scanned the storage rings and found no pill furnaces. There were only a few desolate pills. "The pill furnaces should be in the earth vein. Let's go in and take a look," Lu Ming said. The three of them entered the earth vein and found a few hundred pill furnaces in 2 different places. It was obvious that the heavenly human tribe members were refining pills. When they found Lu Ming and the others, they did not put away their pill furnaces. This benefited Lu Ming and the others. They now had a few hundred more pill furnaces. "Dandan, you set up the formation. We'll refine the pills," Lu Ming said. "Don't worry. Leave it to me." With that, Dandan disappeared and began setting up a formation around the earth vein. There were no trees to protect this place. They were afraid that the heavenly human tribe would counterattack, so they needed Dandan to set up a formation. As long as Dandan had enough time, he would be able to set up a powerful formation. If the heavenly human tribe dared to attack, they would definitely suffer. Meanwhile, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing activated their pill furnaces and started refining pills. It was safer to refine pills with 2 earth veins. They would definitely be able to gather 12 billion desolate pills, and there would be more. However, the more desolate pills the better. Whether it was Autumn Moon, Bubbles, or Yiling, they all needed desolate pills to strengthen their cultivation. However, Xian Yanqing and Dandan did not need desolate pills. Xian Yanqing had absorbed far more desolate pills than he needed. His cultivation was already extremely stable. As for Dandan, because he had absorbed a drop of 5 elements fairy tear, he was already too strong. He did not need desolate pills. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, another year had passed. During this year, the heavenly human tribe did not attack. Perhaps it was because they did not know that Lu Ming and the others had occupied this earth vein, or there were other reasons. Of course, this was better. Dandan spent a year to set up a powerful formation around the earth vein, turning this place into a dangerous place. Lu Ming also had more and more primordial pills in his hands. At this time, there were still 7 years before the 50-year deadline. Soon, another 4 years had passed. There were still 3 years before the 50-year deadline. At this time, Lu Ming had gathered the 12 billion desolate pills he needed. At this time, Lu Ming returned to the earth vein and started refining desolate pills to break through. It would definitely take a long time to break through to the 9th level of the Divine God realm. After all, he had to refine the 12 billion desolate pills. Even though Lu Ming was refining desolate pills very quickly, it would still take a long time to refine the 12 billion desolate pills. This time, Lu Ming used 2 months to refine all the 12 billion desolate pills. Then, he started to break through to the next level. With enough desolate pills, breaking through to the next level was a matter of course. Soon, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. So powerful! The aura of a 9th level Divine God realm is even more terrifying than many Divine Masters. Yiling sighed. Brother Lu Ming is of course the most powerful. Now that he has broken through to the 9th level of the Divine God realm, no one in the Divine God realm will be a match for him, Bubbles said. I believe that. Yiling nodded. Chapter 4398. Yiling nodded seriously. The more he interacted with Lu Ming, the more he felt that Lu Ming was powerful and unfathomable. After a while, Lu Ming's aura finally stabilized and he opened his eyes. I've finally reached the 9th layer of the Divine God realm. Now I'm not afraid of anyone in the Divine God realm. Yi Chu Tianji, I hope to fight with you. Lu Ming's eyes shone with confidence. Before his breakthrough, he was indeed far from being Yi Chu Tianji's match. If they fought, he would be easily suppressed. However, it was different now. After breaking through from the 8th layer of the Divine God realm to the 9th layer of the Divine God realm, his battle strength had increased by 3 stars. It was enough to suppress Yi Chu Tianji. There are still 3 years before the battle for the origin seed. Let's stabilize our cultivation in these 3 years, Lu Ming muttered. After that, Lu Ming and the others continued to refine the desolation pills in the 2 earth veins. When they were free, they would also cultivate, hoping to become the strongest in order to prepare for the battle for the origin seed. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Soon, it had been 50 years since they entered the Taishang Immortal City. At this time, everyone had refined all the desolation pills they had on them. This was because they could not bring the desolation pills out. If they did not refine them, they would only be wasted. At this time, everyone stopped refining pills and cultivating. Those who were wandering in the immortal abode all left the immortal abode to wait for the next battle for the origin seed. The origin seed was very important. It was related to the cultivation of the Divine Master Realm. With the origin seed, the cultivation of the Divine Master Realm would be much smoother. It would be as if they had a direction and would not take any detours. Of course, the most important thing about the origin seed was the origin realm. With the origin seed, the chances of breaking through to the origin realm would greatly increase. This was the most important thing. The origin realm was called Origin Venerables. In the heavenly palace, they were called Heavenly Venerables. Among the primordial divine spirits, they were called primary gods. This was the true peak power of the universe. It was incomparably powerful and could destroy galaxies. Origin realm existences were not only powerful, but their lifespans were also extremely long. They could exist as long as the universe. The lifespan of an origin realm expert was as long as the universe had a lifespan. The origin realm was basically the ultimate goal of all cultivators in the primitive universe. It was also the peak of the second step of cultivation, the God state. However, the origin energy seed was related to the origin realm. Who would not be tempted? Even if they did not break through to reciprocity in the future, just being able to cultivate a little more smoothly at the Divine Lord realm was enough to tempt countless people. Above the ley line, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubbles, and Yiling stood side by side, waiting for the 50-year period to come. One! Buzz! Suddenly, the sky trembled, and small vortexes appeared. Then, a flight of stairs extended out from these small vortexes. A flight of stairs extended from one of the vortexes all the way to Lu Ming. Not only Lu Ming, but Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and the others also had a staircase in front of them. Each of them had a flight of stairs that extended to their eyes. It was not just Lu Ming and the others. Everyone who entered the Zenith's Supreme Immortal City, regardless of which of the 36 star palaces or the first, second, or third floor of the Zenith's Supreme Immortal City, had a flight of stairs in front of them. It had begun. Lu Ming and the others knew that the battle for the origin energy seed had begun. Lu Ming had read the information given by Fei Huang and knew that they had to first step on this flight of stairs and pass a test. Only those who passed the test had the right to compete for the origin energy seed. They had to compete for the opportunity to condense the origin energy seed. "Let's go!" Lu Ming said. After saying that, he stepped onto the flight of stairs. The moment he stepped onto the flight of stairs, an invisible force enveloped Lu Ming. This force constantly permeated as if it wanted to see through Lu Ming. Then, a large number of items flew out from Lu Ming's storage ring. There were weapons and pill furnaces from the Zenith's Supreme Immortal City. All the weapons and pill furnaces flew out and turned into rays of light that flew into the distance and disappeared between heaven and earth. It was the same for Xian Yanqing and the others. As soon as they stepped onto the flight of stairs, the weapons and pill furnaces they obtained from the Zenith's Supreme Immortal City flew away. "Luckily, the 5 elemental immortal tears are still here." Lu Ming showed a hint of joy. As expected, the 5 elemental immortal tears would not fly away and could be brought out. In fact, apart from the 5 elemental immortal tears, there were also a few things that could be brought out, such as the metal materials obtained from the Zenith's Supreme Immortal City. However, the metal materials in the Zenith's Supreme Immortal City were very rare, and not many people obtained them. Lu Ming did not stop and continued to step forward. In the end, he entered the vortex and disappeared. After entering the vortex, Lu Ming seemed to have entered another space. Around him, the void was gray and it was difficult to tell the direction. Under Lu Ming's feet was a path made of bluestone that led to the front. Lu Ming walked along the bluestone path and kept moving forward. Not long after, a door blocked Lu Ming's path. It was a light door that blocked Lu Ming's path. "Is this the trial?" Lu Ming murmured. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang in Lu Ming's ears. Those who break through the door can take part in the battle for the origin seed. Those who fail will be sent out of the Zenith's supreme immortal city. The voice sounded old, like an old man in his twilight years. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Are there still living creatures in the Zenith's supreme immortal city? I don't think so, maybe they're just weapon spirits or formation spirits. Lu Ming's mind was racing and his imagination was running wild. However, it was similar to what he had guessed. The light door was some kind of trial. Only those who passed it had the right to take part in the battle for the origin seed. It made sense. There must be a selection process. Otherwise, there would be too many people. This time, there were hundreds of millions of people from the entire universe who entered the Zenith's supreme immortal city. Among them, there were only a small number of divine masters. Most of them were divine emperors, or divine lords. Among them, the number of divine emperors and divine lords was the largest. However, the number of divine emperors was also very shocking. There were at least a few million people in the 36 star palaces, or even more. If they didn't filter out a batch, it would take a long time. Boom! Lu Ming attacked and threw a punch at the light door. With a loud bang, the light door exploded and dissipated into energy. So simple? Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. He didn't even use much strength in the punch just now, and the light door was blasted open. It was even simpler than he had imagined. Maybe my combat strength is too strong, haha! Lu Ming laughed out loud and then strode over. When he stepped over the light door, the space changed again, and he appeared in another place. This is... Lu Ming looked around. Lu Ming found that he was standing on a lotus. Yes, it was a lotus, a white lotus. The diameter of the lotus was about 1 meter. Chapter 4399. Lu Ming discovered that he was standing on a white lotus flower with a diameter of 1 meter. This lotus flower was suspended in the air. Moreover, Lu Ming discovered that there were many such lotus flowers all around him. There were many lotuses floating in the air, and there was a figure on each of them. Shao Qing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubbles. Lu Ming quickly looked around and saw Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubbles, and the others not far from him. At the same time, he also saw many strong cultivators from the heavenly human tribe, such as Yichu Tianji, Yichu Qianwei, Yichu Haohan, and the others. These people were also standing on a white lotus flower, looking around. Very soon, their gazes landed on Lu Ming, emitting cold, murderous intent. It's him, Mu Yun! It's Mu Yun! No, it should be Lu Ming, he's Lu Ming! That's right, I also heard that Mu Yun is Lu Ming and Lu Ming is Mu Yun! In an instant, at least a few thousand people looked at Lu Ming. Their eyes were as sharp as swords, as if they wanted to pierce through Lu Ming. Back when they were at the Five Elements Immortal Mountain, Lu Ming's identity, as Mu Yun, had already been exposed by Yichu Qianwei. Now that the news had spread, most people knew Lu Ming's true identity. Mu Yun, no, that damned Lu Ming! Someone in the crowd bellowed. His hatred for Lu Ming was extremely strong. That person was Gabbert. At that moment, Gabbert's aura was extremely powerful. His body was covered by a white holy light, and his aura was extremely strong. He had reached the 9th layer of the divine god realm. As if he had sensed something, Lu Ming looked at Gabbert. Gabbert has broken through to the 9th great supreme god layer. It seems like he's had a great adventure recently. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Their gazes collided in the air, as if sparks were about to fly. Lu Ming, I will kill you! Gabbert roared in his heart, and the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He had the same thoughts as Gabbert. However, Lu Ming's gaze didn't stay on Gabbert for too long, because he was attracted by the other people. That is... Dark Knight Rose, Di Jiani and Yin Zhouling. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he saw some familiar faces. It was Dark Knight Rose, Di Jiani, Yin Zhouling, and the others. At this moment, Dark Knight Rose and the others' strength had also become extremely terrifying. Their auras were vigorous and unfathomable. Dark Knight Rose looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile. Di Jianyi looked at Lu Ming, his battle intent surged and his sword intent soared. Yin Jiuling looked at Lu Ming with strong killing intent. The real Yin Jiuling had already been possessed by the baleful Yin Qi. At this moment, Yin Jiuling had become extremely terrifying. He also clearly remembered that he had fought with Lu Ming previously. When Yin Jiuling was possessed by the baleful Yin Qi, he had entered the dark pit in the dark pit demon mountain. No one knew what he had obtained, but it gave people a terrifying feeling. One should know that the dark pit demon mountain was one of the most terrifying forbidden lands in the chaotic universe. Yin Jiuling was definitely not to be underestimated. As for Dark Night Rose, she had always given Lu Ming an unfathomable feeling. She had established a force that specialized in collecting the top supreme talents in the universe. She wanted to build a force that was comparable to the Heavenly Palace. Her ambition was astonishing. However, when her gaze landed on Xian Yanqing, her body trembled violently, and she revealed a look of shock. Although it was just a flash and she immediately hid it, Lu Ming still caught it. Huh! Dark Night Rose seems to know Shao Qing. She seems to be very shocked when she saw Shao Qing, Lu Ming thought in his heart. At the same time, Xian Yanqing also saw Dark Night Rose and frowned, revealing a look of contemplation. Shao Qing, do you know that woman? Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing. I don't know her, but this person gives me a familiar feeling, Xian Yanqing replied. It seems that Dark Night Rose is hiding a lot of secrets, Lu Ming thought. Then, Lu Ming looked at the surrounding environment. Is this place already outside the Grand Supreme Immortal City? It seems to be above the Grand Supreme Immortal City, Lu Ming whispered in his heart. This was because he discovered that they were currently inside a huge barrier of light. They were enveloped by a huge barrier of light. Below the barrier of light, they could see a huge city. It was clearly the Grand Supreme Immortal City. Above them, there were many onlookers. Some of these onlookers were Origin Realm experts from the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer. Most of them were those who had been eliminated. There were at least a few 100 million of them. Yes, those who had not been selected and had not broken through the door of light had been sent out of the Grand Supreme Immortal City. At this moment, they were standing in the void and could see Lu Ming and the others through the barrier of light. Moreover, Lu Ming also discovered that there were 2 other barriers of light similar to them. There were a total of 3 barriers of light, and there were many people in each of them. One of the barriers of light is for divine masters, the other one is for god emperors, and the other one is for those below the god emperor realm. Lu Ming made a judgment very easily. The 3 barriers of light hovered above the Grand Supreme Immortal City, enveloping 3 different levels of people. Those outside could see them, but they could not enter. First, the Divine Master Realm competition will begin. There are only 72 spots for the Divine Master Realm. Only those who enter the top 72 will have the chance to connect to the Cosmic Sea and comprehend the origin. The rules are very simple. You will fight in pairs. Of course, everyone will have a few chances. Also, you will not die in this competition. A voice suddenly rang out. Everyone could hear it. Not only could the people inside the barriers hear it, but even those outside could hear it. The rules are indeed similar to what Senior Fei Huang introduced. Lu Ming muttered to himself. Soon, the Divine Master Realm competition began. The 2 of them fought against each other. Lu Ming and the others watched seriously. Firstly, they could familiarize themselves with the rules. Secondly, watching the Divine Master Realm experts fight was very helpful to them. They could get some inspiration. One had to know that most of them were at the 9th level of the Divine Master Realm. The next step was the Divine Master Realm. It was naturally beneficial to watch first. The battle between the Divine Master Realm experts was incomparably intense. However, they would not die because the lotus under their feet had a mysterious effect. Even if they were killed, they could revive on the lotus. This made the battle even more intense. They could attack without restraint. They were not afraid of being killed. After all, they could revive. There were at least thousands of Divine Master Realm existences, but there were only 72 spots. The competition was extremely fierce. Even among the same race, there was no mercy. They fought with all their strength. Of course, the most intense battle was between the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace. Once they met, it would be a life-and-death battle. Among them, Lu Ming saw many people at the level of the Lord of Heaven fight. It was really an eye-opener. He benefited a lot. Seeing that someone asked about Ling Yue, the story between Ling Yue and Lu Ming had not ended. In addition, the story between Mulin's Huang Ling and Lu Ming had not ended. End of chapter. Chapter 4400. The battle of the Divine Masters lasted for several months before it finally came to an end. In the end, the 72 strongest Divine Masters flew into the sky on lotus flowers. They were still sitting cross-legged on the lotus flowers, but there was a layer of light shield around them. At the same time, a beam of light rose from their bodies, rushed into the eternal void, and disappeared. Was this the connection to the cosmic sea? Many people wondered. Only those defeated Divine Masters were disqualified. They were teleported out one by one and became spectators outside. The top 3 are all from the Heavenly Human Tribe. The Heavenly Human Tribe is too strong. Is there no one who can compete with them? Lu Ming heard many people discussing. They were all from the Heaven Exterminating Army. In the battle of the Divine Masters just now, the top 3 were occupied by the Heavenly Human Tribe. On the Heaven Destroyer's side, the strongest Divine Master only occupied the 4th place. Moreover, most of the 72 people who were qualified to connect to the cosmic sea were from the Heavenly Human Tribe. On the Heaven Destroyer's side, there were less than 20 people. The gap was too big. This made the Heaven Destroyer's people somewhat disappointed. Humph, a mere traitor wants to compete with the Heavenly Human Tribe? You're overestimating yourselves. You're just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. We have countless geniuses. How can you compare to us? The Heavenly Human Tribe couldn't help but mock. Suddenly, the Heaven Destroyer's people were angry. The Heavenly Human Tribe is invincible? How ridiculous! How were the 4 Heavenly Palaces destroyed? Since we can destroy the 4 Heavenly Palaces, we can destroy all of you. It's just a matter of time. The Heaven Destroyer's people retorted. At the peak of the Heavenly Palace, there were a total of 9 Heavenly Palaces. Now there were only 5 left. 4 of them had been destroyed after a long period of time. The Heavenly Human Tribe had always regarded this matter as a disgrace. Now that it was mentioned, the Heavenly Human Tribe was furious. You traitors, you're courting death! The Heavenly Human Tribe's people roared. Ha ha, come and bite me if you dare! The Heaven Destroyer's people were fearless. On this lotus, no one could attack each other. Only when the competition started and it was their turn would they be able to exchange blows. Now, Celestial Emperors, let the competition begin. The rules of the competition are the same as those in the God-Lord realm. It's a 2-on-1 duel, and the winner's lotus root will be raised by 1 zhang. The loser's lotus root will fall by 1 zhang. At this moment, the old voice rang out once more. It was the same voice that had announced the start of the Divine Lord Realm competition. Lu Ming could tell that this was the same voice that reminded him to attack the light door. When this voice rang out, the crowd immediately quieted down. At the same time, a huge circular platform appeared between them. This round platform was the battle stage. It was incomparably tough, and no matter how strong the attack was, it wouldn't be able to shatter it. This was something that had already been verified by the Divine Master before. Even the top Divine Masters couldn't shatter this battle stage. There are a total of 36,000 of you. In the end, there will only be 130 places. Only the strongest 130 people will have the chance to connect to the cosmic sea. The competition will be random. 2 people will fight at random. The winner's lotus root will rise by 1 zhang, and the loser's lotus root will fall by 1 zhang. When the lotus root reaches 0, you will be eliminated. With the protection of this lotus, those who are killed won't really die. They can be resurrected, but their vitality will be depleted. They can also admit defeat directly. The old voice continued to ring out. Although he had already introduced the rules when he was in the God-Lord realm, he had to reintroduce them now. It seems that everyone has 3 chances. Lu Ming pondered. This was because the lotus root was only 3 zhang tall, and its roots were embedded in the void. Every time one lost, the root would fall by 1 zhang. After losing 3 times, the root would fall to 0, and the contestant would be eliminated. Lu Ming knew this rule very well. It was for the sake of fairness. Because the 2 sides of the battle were random, some unlucky people might encounter a strong opponent at the beginning and lose. This way, they still had a chance. Even if the root fell by 1 zhang, they still had a chance to turn the tables and climb up by defeating others. Of course, if they encountered a very strong opponent 3 times in a row, there was no other way. Being unlucky was also a reflection of not being strong enough. There were only 130 places. Many people's eyes lit up. They secretly swore to fight for a place. Now, the competition begins! The old voice rang out. As soon as the voice fell, 2 of the lotuses moved and flew toward the circular battle stage. They flew to the edge of the battle stage. Needless to say, the 2 of them were going to compete. Swoosh! Their gazes collided, and there seemed to be sparks. A strong killing intent spread out. One of them was from the Heaven Destroyer, and the other was from the Heavenly Human Tribe. What a coincidence! The Heavenly Human Tribe and the Heaven Destroyer met in the first round. Both of them were in the prime of their lives. They were not from the younger generation. There were a total of 36,000 people who passed the assessment. Naturally, not all of them were from the younger generation. Among them, most of them were from the prime of their lives. Swoosh! The 2 of them moved and jumped onto the battle stage. As soon as they jumped onto the battle stage, the 2 of them charged at each other and clashed. Boom! In an instant, the 2 of them exchanged a blow. In just one blow, the winner was decided. The brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer trembled violently and retreated. He spat out blood from his mouth. He lost. The difference in their battle prowess is too great. Lu Ming shook his head. Although both of them were in the 9th layer of the Divine God realm, the brawny man from the Heavenly Human Tribe was obviously much stronger. He had a 5-star battle prowess. On the other hand, the brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer only had a 3-star battle prowess. With a difference of 2 stars, it was completely one-sided. Kill! The brawny man from the Heavenly Human Tribe injured his opponent with 1 blow. Then, he continued to attack his opponent like a torrential storm. The brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer tried his best to block the attacks, but it was useless. After a few blows, he was seriously injured and could no longer fight. Traitor, although I can't kill you here, it'll be harder for me to kill you than to kill you. The brawny man from the Heavenly Human Tribe rushed toward the brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer. He grabbed his opponent's leg, swung him up, and smashed him on the ground. With a bang, the brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer had many bones broken. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and his entire body was deformed. He looked extremely miserable. However, he was not dead. The brawny man from the Heavenly Human Tribe had done this on purpose. He had controlled his strength very well. He only wanted to torture his opponent. He would not kill him so easily. All right. Let's continue. Let these traitors know how powerful we are. Haha, this is so fun. On the field, the people from the Heavenly Human Tribe laughed. As for the people from the other races in the universe, they did not interrupt and remained silent. Chapter 4401. However, the people on Heaven Destroyer's side were infuriated. Damn it! I'd rather die than be humiliated. Heavenly Human Tribe, don't let me meet them. Otherwise, I'll make them regret it. The people on Heaven Destroyer's side roared angrily. Both sides glared at each other. The smell of gunpowder was intense. However, the burly man from the Heavenly Human Tribe's face became even more ferocious. He sneered and said, "A bunch of lowly things can't be humiliated. How ridiculous! Kneel!" After saying that, he pressed down with his hand. A powerful force burst out and formed a rope-like force that tied up the man from Heaven Destroyer. Under the rope-like force, the burly man from Heaven Destroyer knelt on the ground. Ah! The burly man from Heaven Destroyer looked up to the sky and roared. He was extremely humiliated. His eyes were full of shame and anger. What are you screaming for? Get lost, lowly thing! The strong man from the heavenly human tribe kicked the man from the heaven exterminating troop out of the fighting ring. When he flew out of the fighting ring, his lotus automatically flew over and caught him. Then, it flew back to its original position. However, the roots of the lotus began to shrink rapidly. From 3 zhang tall, they had shrunk to 2 zhang tall. The celestial race man took a step forward and returned to his lotus flower. His lotus flower also flew back. However, the root of the lotus flower rose from 3 feet to 4 feet tall. It rose by 1 foot. Damn it! The people on Heaven Destroyer's side roared angrily. They were extremely displeased. Losing a battle was not a big deal. The main thing was that the people from the heavenly human tribe had gone too far. On the other hand, the people from the heavenly human tribe sneered with disdain. The first battle had already caused the tension between Heaven Destroyer and the heavenly human tribe to be very high. At this time, 2 more lotus flowers flew toward the fighting ring and approached it. This time, the 2 contestants were not from Heaven Destroyer or the heavenly human tribe. Instead, they were from 2 major tribes in the primitive universe. The combat power of the 2 contestants was about the same. After a few hundred fierce moves, one of them finally won by a slight advantage. The winner's lotus root would be raised by 10 feet, while the loser's lotus root would be lowered by 10 feet. Then 2 more people went up. Just like that, the 2-on-2 battles continued. Some of them had a huge difference in strength, and victory and defeat were quickly decided. However, there were also some who had similar strength, and it would take a long time for victory and defeat to be decided. Moreover, some people were killed on the battle stage. However, once someone was killed, their flesh and blood would fly back to the lotus and revive. It was just that a large amount of essence energy was consumed. Seeing the others come back to life with their own eyes made everyone feel reassured. The battle that followed became even more intense. It was a battle of life and death. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. It seems like you can pass the exam if you have the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God Layer. After a few days of observation, Lu Ming realized that the weakest of the 36,000 people who had passed the selection had the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God Layer. Take note, it's combat prowess that reaches a certain level, not a certain level of cultivation. As long as your battle prowess reaches the 9th Great Supreme God Layer, you can pass the selection. Therefore, not all of those 36,000 people had the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God Layer. Many of them had the strength of the 8th, 7th, or 6th Great Supreme God Layer, and they had the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God Layer. 36,000 people would compete in pairs. It would take quite some time for all of them to be done. Time passed day by day. Soon, half a month had passed. During this period, Autumn Moon, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Bubbles and the others all fought. They didn't encounter any strong opponents, and they didn't encounter any heavenly human tribe members either. They won easily. Their lotus roots had all reached a height of 12 meters. Lu Ming also saw Dark Knight Rose, Di Jiani, Yin Jiuling and the others fight. They defeated their opponents in one move, which gave people a feeling that they were unfathomable. These people are getting stronger and stronger. If they don't use their full strength, it's hard to tell their real battle prowess, Lu Ming thought. As for the sons and daughters of heaven from the heavenly palace, their opponents admitted defeat immediately. Because they knew they would lose without a fight. Why not save some strength for themselves? At this moment, 2 more people went up. Gabbert! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This was because one of them was Gabe. The other person was a young man. He was tall and sturdy, and his body emitted an ancient aura. He was a genius from the Heaven Destroyer, a descendant of the primordial divine spirit. The aura he gave off was the aura of the primordial divine spirit. You're Gabbert. I know you. You're a genius on the universe genius list, the descendant of the primordial divine spirit from the heaven destroyer said. Since you know my name, why don't you admit defeat? Gabbert said coldly. He was full of confidence. Admit defeat? Ha ha ha, although Gabbert is a genius on the universe genius list, you're at the bottom. In my eyes, you're nothing. The descendant of the primordial divine spirit laughed contemptuously. The people from the heaven destroyer were also very disgusted with the angels, because the angels were completely the lackeys of the heavenly human tribe. Over the years, the angels had hunted down many heaven destroyer. You're courting death. Being looked down upon, Gabbert's eyes flashed with cruel murderous intent. Then, a powerful aura burst out from his body, and 12 angel wings stretched out from his back. Why are his angel wings golden? Exclamations came from the scene. Even Lu Ming's eyes flashed a few times, revealing a look of surprise. This was because the wings of the angels were almost all pure white. In the legends, there were fallen angels who had pitch black wings. However, there were very few golden angel wings. There was only one situation that would appear, and that was the Angel King. Oh my God, those are the Angel King wings! Has Gabbert's bloodline turned into the Angel King bloodline? Is it really the Angel King? Many people were discussing, especially those from the top 10 races. They were all famous races, so they naturally knew each other better. The Angel King bloodline was the legendary bloodline of the angels. It was known as the strongest bloodline of the angels. Gabbert had evolved into the Angel King bloodline? It's the royal bloodline. It's really the royal bloodline. How did Gabbert succeed? Some people spoke, their voices were filled with disbelief. These were the other geniuses of the angels. Among the angels, the geniuses who were as famous as Gabbert, or even more famous than Gabbert, were the most shocked. As an angel, they could naturally tell at a glance that it was the Angel King bloodline. The reason for that was because they felt an enormous amount of pressure and fear from that oppressive might. That was the fear of a superior being. Ha ha ha, good! Outside, the elders of the angels laughed loudly. These were the divine masters of the angels. They had all retreated outside after losing the competition. At this moment, they were extremely excited. Chapter 4402. The godly lords of the angel race were extremely excited, while the godly lords of the other top 10 races looked gloomy. The reason for that was because this was not a good thing for them. Once the angel royal bloodline reached its peak, its strength would be extremely terrifying. Moreover, the angel royal bloodline had limitless potential, and it would have a chance to reach the origin realm in the future. Once the angel race had one more origin realm existence, their strength would increase greatly, and it would be easy for them to suppress the other top 10 races. Other than the quasi-saint race, no other race could compare to the angel race. This Gilbert, to think that he has such potential. The geniuses on the universe prodigy list looked very solemn. Even the top 10 geniuses were the same. The angel royal bloodline was enough to threaten everyone on the universe prodigy list, including the terrifying existences at the top of the list. The people outside the arena had different feelings. On the battle platform, the descendant of the primordial divine spirit narrowed his eyes, and he looked extremely solemn. Boom! He also unleashed a powerful aura, and his body quickly enlarged, turning into a giant beast. This was the form of the primordial divine spirit. Transforming into the form of the primordial divine spirit was the most powerful battle form of the descendant of the primordial divine spirit. Lose! The descendant of the primordial divine spirit roared and pounced on Gabbert. He grabbed at Gabbert with his sharp claws, wanting to tear Gabbert to pieces. The void vibrated, emitting a terrifying fluctuation. 7-star battle strength! Many people were shocked. As soon as the descendant of the primordial divine spirit attacked, some powerful people could sense that the descendant of the primordial divine spirit's battle strength had reached 7 stars. Of course, his cultivation was also at the 9th level of the divine emperor realm. This battle strength was absolutely powerful, and he could indeed look down on Gabbert, who was ranked at the bottom of the universe prodigy list. However, He did not expect Gabbard to evolve into an angel royal bloodline. Schwa! At this moment, Gabbard moved. His body was enveloped in golden holy light. He rushed out as if his entire body had turned into a golden sword, slashing at the descendant of the primordial divine spirit. Puff! A clear sound spread in the air. The attack of the descendant of the primitive godly spirit was broken in an instant. The gigantic body stiffened, and a golden sword light flashed. Gabbard's body reappeared on the other side of the battle stage. Primordial divine spirit's descendant of the primordial divine spirit's forehead. And the blood became bigger and bigger, until it covered his entire body. How? How is this possible? Said the descendant of the primordial god spirit. His voice was filled with disbelief. Then, with a thump, his body was split in half and he collapsed onto the fighting platform. In's descendant of the primordial divine spirit's attack. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air, especially the geniuses who had competed with Xiaoba before. They were even more shocked. He had killed the descendant of the primordial godly spirit with the power of 7 stars in one strike. What kind of power was that? 8 or 9 stars? 9 pro combat battle? But everyone had the same opinion, which was that Gabbard had an unimaginable adventure in the Taishang Celestial City. Otherwise, he would not have been able to improve so much. It was not because of the improvement of his cultivation, but because his battle strength had increased tremendously. Normally, if one's cultivation improved quickly, their battle strength would decrease, and it would be even more difficult to improve. However, Gabbard's cultivation had not only increased to the 9th level of the Great Supreme God Realm, but his battle strength had also increased tremendously. It was really incredible. Swoosh! Swoosh! The descendant of the primordial divine spirit's flesh and blood turned into rays of light, flying towards the lotus. Then, the descendant of the primordial divine spirit's body reappeared on the lotus. He had come back to life. However, there was still fear in his eyes. If it had been somewhere else, he would have been killed. Although he had come back to life, the fear was still there. He was scared of Gabbard. At this moment, Gabbard looked at Lu Ming. Mu Yun, no, I should call you Lu Ming. Gabbard's voice was cold and disdainful. He continued, Back then, in the elf tribe, didn't you want to challenge me? Didn't you want to make a 1,000-year promise with me? I hope you won't be eliminated so early. If you meet me later, I will let you die first. At this moment, Gabbard was full of confidence, as if he could kill Lu Ming easily. Gabbard, you loser, have you forgotten that I broke your wings and you escaped so quickly? Lu Ming mocked. Gabbard's face turned cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Recalling what had happened last time, he was filled with killing intent towards Lu Ming. Breaking his wings was a great humiliation for the angel tribe. It was a stain in his life. He swore that he would definitely kill Lu Ming in the future. Otherwise, it would be difficult to wash away his shame. Back then, I was careless, but this time, I will kill you with one hand, said Gabbard coldly. It wasn't that he was overconfident, it was just that he was completely confident. Because Lu Ming's cultivation level was only that of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. Indeed, everyone could see that Lu Ming's cultivation level was only that of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. Because Lu Ming had used the Great Imitation Technique to imitate the Qi of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. The Great Imitation Technique was ranked 3rd among the 3,000 ancient secret skills. It was really mysterious. Not only could it imitate other people's Qi, but it could also imitate their cultivation level. Almost no one could see through it. Even an Almighty would not be able to tell Lu Ming's exact cultivation level. Facing Lu Ming, who only had the strength of the 8th Great Supreme God layer, Gabbard was extremely confident that he could easily kill Lu Ming. Many people looked at Lu Ming. Now, they all knew that Lu Ming was Mu Yun. Many people had heard that Mu Yun and Gabbard had made a promise of 1,000 years because of the elf princess. It'll be interesting if those two fight. Many people had the same thought. I also hope that I can meet you. I don't mind breaking your wings again, said Lu Ming coldly. It's useless to show off. Try your best to survive, Gilbert said coldly. He took a step forward and returned to the top of the lotus. His lotus had risen by 1 zhang, reaching a height of 4 zhang. At that moment, 2 more lotuses flew towards the fighting stage. One of them was Lu Ming. Finally, it's my turn! Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. It's Lu Ming's turn. Let's see how strong he is. Lu Ming has a forbidden body. He's definitely not weak. I think he's at least 10 stars. Is a forbidden body really that strong? It shouldn't be weak. But it's very difficult to reach 11 stars. Some people were discussing spiritedly. No, he's probably really at 11 stars. We can't be careless, said a genius from the heavenly human clan. It was Yichu Qianwei. Chapter 4403. Everyone's hearts trembled as they looked to Yichu Qianwei. Yichu Qianwei was a son of heaven. A son of heaven had spoken in person. This was no small matter. Did Yichu Qianwei fight with Lu Ming? Is Lu Ming's combat ability really that powerful? Many people were shocked. Yelu Shikai, don't underestimate him, Yichu Qianwei said. That's right. Lu Ming's opponent this time was also from the heavenly human tribe, a top genius of the heavenly human tribe. The two of them flew to the fighting stage and faced each other. Don't worry, Your Highness, I will defeat him. Yelu Shikai nodded. His eyes were as sharp as a sword as he looked at Lu Ming. Sizzle. Wisps of pure white lightning spread out from his body and covered his entire body. This was the heavenly punishment energy. Since the Emperor had spoken, Yelu Shikai didn't dare to underestimate Lu Ming. He used the heavenly punishment energy at the beginning. The heavenly punishment energy around Yelu Shikai's body intertwined and condensed into a goshawk. Different people would have different ways of using the 4 ultimate heavenly powers, and each person would have a different way of using them. Yelu Shikai's method was different from others. He turned the heavenly punishment energy into a goshawk and covered his whole body. Swoosh. The goshawk flapped its wings and rushed towards Lu Ming. A strong wind blew and the void kept exploding. A violent force pressed towards Lu Ming. Boom. Lu Ming clenched his fist, and a long spear condensed. He thrust the spear forward and collided with the goshawk's sharp claws. There was a violent explosion. The spear and the lightning swept out in all directions. Then, the two figures retreated quickly. This move was evenly matched. What? The pupils of the majority of the people at the scene shrank, revealing expressions of shock. They were shocked by Lu Ming's strength. A moment before, Lu Ming had indeed displayed the strength of the 8th Great Supreme God Layer. However, he had managed to block Yelu Shikai's attack with the strength of the 8th Great Supreme God Layer. That was terrifying. This was because everyone could see that Yelu Shikai's battle prowess had reached 9 stars. Lu Ming's cultivation was 1 level lower than Yelu Shikai's, yet he was able to block Yelu Shikai's attack. Didn't that mean that Lu Ming's battle prowess had reached 12 stars? Hiss, a series of gasps could be heard. 12 stars of battle prowess, this was too terrifying. The 4 heavenly palaces had 9 heavenly princes and heavenly daughters in total. Most of the heavenly daughters only had 11 stars of battle prowess. Didn't that mean that Lu Ming had surpassed most of the heavenly sons and daughters at the same level and was invincible? The taboo energy was actually so terrifying? No wonder even Yichu Qianwei warned him. We can't let this kid live. Outside the supreme immortal city, an old Empyrean spoke. His aged eyes were now filled with cold killing intent. He was a giant of the heavenly palace, an origin realm existence. He had lived for a long time and knew how terrifying it was to have 12 stars of battle prowess in the great supreme god realm. As long as he was alive, he might become another lord of the ancient divine court in the future, or someone like Fei Huang, who would become a great enemy of the heavenly palace. They must find a way to get rid of such a person. That's right. Once this matter is over, we must find a way to get rid of him. We can't let him grow. Another Empyrean spoke. Who do you want to get rid of? You'll have to get through me first. A cold voice sounded. It was naturally Fei Huang. Fei Huang's long dress fluttered as she stood on a black lotus, looking like a demon among demons. Humph! The other Empyreans snorted, but they were still quite afraid of Fei Huang, so they didn't say anything. Standing on one of the lotuses, Gilbert's pupils suddenly shrank. 12 stars of battle prowess. This Lu Ming really has 12 stars of battle prowess, Gabbert whispered. He was very shocked, but soon, his shock turned into an even stronger killing intent. After all, he had fought with Lu Ming in an intense battle. At that time, he was defeated by Lu Ming with his higher cultivation. In the end, he escaped with broken wings. At that time, he guessed that Lu Ming's battle prowess was either 11 or 12 stars. Now that it was confirmed, although he was shocked, he quickly reacted. Lu Ming, so what if you have 12 stars of battle prowess? I'll still kill you! Gabbert shouted in a low voice, still confident. On the battle stage, Yelu Shirkai was extremely shocked. He looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Is this all your strength? It's not enough to kill me! Lu Ming mocked. It's enough to kill you! Yelu Shirkai shouted and continued to attack Lu Ming. A goshawk, completely condensed by the power of heavenly punishment, with claws sharper than divine weapons, grabbed Lu Ming's head. Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his long spear. Spear light flashed as he fought with Yelu Shirkai. Boom! Boom! This time, the two fought with speed. They kept exchanging blows and colliding. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. However, it was still a draw. Kill, kill, kill! Yelu Shirkai's eyes were red with killing intent. He pushed his battle prowess to the extreme and kept attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming also pushed his battle prowess to the extreme to fight with his opponent. However, Lu Ming kept his cultivation at the 8th layer of the Great God Realm. The reason why he hid his cultivation was that he was afraid that if he showed a higher cultivation, the people of the Heavenly Palace would be afraid and admit defeat as soon as they saw him. How boring would that be? Although he couldn't really kill the people of the Heavenly Human Tribe here, he could still abuse them, right? At the same time, he could also attack the morale of the Heavenly Human Tribe and their arrogant attitude. And that Gabbert, he really wanted to see the expressions on those people's faces when he turned the tables on them. It would definitely be very interesting. Soon, the two exchanged more than 200 blows. At this time, Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand. Because after a few hundred blows, Yelu Shirkai's strength was running out. Constantly using the power of heavenly punishment consumed a lot of energy. And Lu Ming's strength was still at the peak. Yelu Shirkai is going to lose! The forbidden power is long-lasting. He has a great advantage in a battle of the same level. Yelu Shirkai, admit defeat! The people of the Heavenly Human Tribe discussed. Some even asked Yelu Shirkai to admit defeat to avoid being humiliated. Want to admit defeat? It's too late. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. His figure flashed and disappeared from the spot, reappearing behind Yelu Shirkai. Great Aurora Art, activate! Whoosh! Then, a spear light burst out, piercing towards Yelu Shirkai's dantian. Too fast. Yelu Shirkai was already exhausted. It was too late for him to dodge. His dantian was directly pierced by the spear light. Ah! Yelu Shirkai screamed, suffering endless pain. Yelu Shirkai was about to shout and admit defeat. But Lu Ming slapped Yelu Shirkai's face. With a bang, Yelu Shirkai's face was smashed. The powerful force directly destroyed Yelu Shirkai's tongue and throat, making him unable to make a sound. Chapter 4404. Lu Ming smashed Yelu Shirkai's face with one slap, forcing him to swallow back the words admit defeat. Then, he pressed down with his hand, and a powerful force erupted, enveloping Yelu Shirkai's entire body. With a bang, Yelu Shirkai knelt down in front of Lu Ming. An eye for an eye. Previously, the people of the Heavenly Human Tribe treated the people of Heaven Destroyer in this way. Now Lu Ming used the same method to return the favor, letting the heavenly human tribe feel the feeling of being humiliated in public. The people of the heavenly human tribe were in an uproar. They were different from the people of Heaven Destroyer. The heavenly human tribe was high and mighty. They had ruled the primitive universe for countless years. For so many years, they looked down on the universe and regarded other creatures in the universe as ants. Any member of the heavenly human tribe would be praised high and mighty as long as they went out. They were rarely humiliated. At this time, a top genius of the heavenly human tribe was kneeling in front of Lu Ming. It had always been other creatures kneeling to them. When did they kneel to other creatures? Therefore, when such a thing happened, their tolerance was very low. Their mentality was completely broken. Damn bastard, what are you doing? You're committing a crime, a heinous crime. No one can save you. You're finished, you're completely finished. Many people of the heavenly human tribe roared. Their eyes were wide open, and they were furious. Seeing the appearance of the heavenly human tribe, the people of the other races suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of pleasure in their hearts. They also took pleasure in their misfortune. However, Lu Ming responded to them with an even more violent action. Bang! Under the pressure of the forbidden power, Yellow Shirkai's entire body fell to the ground. His bones cracked and he vomited a large mouthful of blood. He looked like he was prostrating himself in front of Lu Ming. Then, Lu Ming stepped down and stomped on Yellow Shirkai's face. Ah! The heavenly human tribe roared again and again. Their anger soared to the sky as if they were about to be burned by anger. This time, even the divine masters and heavenly venerables outside couldn't bear it anymore. Lu Ming, do you know the consequences of humiliating my heavenly human tribe? An old celestial venerable said, the threat in his voice obvious. However, would Lu Ming be afraid? Lu Ming gave him a sidelong glance and said disdainfully, Old man, do you think I'm scared? You're threatening me as if you'll let me off if I don't do this? After being mocked by Lu Ming, even the Emperor, who had lived for countless years, narrowed his eyes and flashed with cold killing intent. If it weren't for the fact that they couldn't make a move here, he wouldn't have been able to resist the urge to kill Lu Ming. A mere lowly ant actually dared to mock him, an exalted Emperor? How audacious! However, he didn't say anything in the end. Firstly, he couldn't bring himself to quarrel with a junior. The second reason was that he really didn't know what to say, because what Lu Ming said was correct. If Lu Ming didn't do this, would the celestial race let him go? It was clearly impossible. Therefore, what did Lu Ming have to fear? The celestial race thinks you're high and mighty, but let me tell you, in front of me, you're just dogs. Do you understand? You have to lie down obediently. Those behind, listen up. If you meet me later in the competition, lie down obediently like a dog. Otherwise, you'll all end up like this. Lu Ming's voice spread in all directions. Boom, 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 anger, anger on top of anger. Almost all of the celestial race erupted with powerful auras. Even the heavenly venerables couldn't control themselves and erupted with terrifying auras. I'm so angry. Son of a bitch, you're courting death, courting death, courting death. I'm going to tear him apart. The young celestial race or the strong celestial race roared crazily and flew into a rage. They couldn't wait to pounce on Lu Ming and skin him alive. Terrifying killing intent gathered and whistled in the air, but Lu Ming didn't care at all. He and the celestial race had long been in an irreconcilable situation. Therefore, he felt very comfortable to be able to anger these arrogant celestial race. He felt extremely refreshed upon seeing the enraged heavenly human tribe powerful beings. Not only him, but the people on the Heaven Destroyer's side felt even more refreshed. The humiliation they had suffered before was swept away. It was as if all the pores on their bodies had opened. The way they looked at Lu Ming had changed. In their eyes, Lu Ming had become extraordinarily cute. Bang! At this time, Lu Ming attacked again. He kicked out and kicked Yellow Shirkai's head. With a bang, Yellow Shirkai's head exploded and he died on the spot. Of course, he wouldn't really die here. Yellow Shirkai's body turned into rays of light and flew back to the lotus, then reformed. Yelu Shirkai was resurrected. However, his aura was a bit weak, and his eyes were full of fear when he looked at Lu Ming. He had developed a fear of Lu Ming and had developed an inner demon. This guy has a 12-star battle prowess. Some people among the celestial race had slowly calmed down, such as Yichu Tianji. At this moment, when Yichu Tianji looked at Lu Ming, his killing intent was incomparably cold. In the universe, there were too many people who had a 12-star battle prowess and could be compared to him. Before entering the highest immortal city, he thought that in the universe, only Yiling Hongye could be his opponent. He felt that there were too many people. What he wanted was to be invincible in the universe and suppress an era. Behind him, another Xian Yanqing ran out. He actually also had a 12-star battle prowess and was not weaker than him. This made him extremely furious. But now, Lu Ming's battle prowess was also 12 stars. Although Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 8th layer of the Great Supreme God realm, it was easy to break through. It wouldn't be difficult to break through given some time. At that time, Lu Ming would be in existence not weaker than him. There were too many, and he couldn't stand it. He had to get rid of some of them. He was already planning how to get rid of Lu Ming after leaving the highest immortal city. It would be best if he could get rid of Xian Yanqing as well. Under the cold and murderous gazes, Lu Ming returned to the lotus. The roots of the lotus under his feet quickly grew taller and became 40 feet tall. After Lu Ming, the competition continued. There were a total of 36,000 people, which meant that there would be 18,000 battles. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. During this period, Lu Ming saw Dark Knight Rose, Di Jiani, Yin Zhioling and the others easily defeating their opponents without any pressure. This time, the competition took a whole month before it finally ended. In this way, there was an obvious change in the height of the lotus roots. Among them, 18,000 people's lotus roots had become 40 feet tall, and the other 18,000 people's lotus roots had become 20 feet tall. Lu Ming and the others stood on the 40 feet tall lotus and looked down at the 20 feet tall lotuses. Those on the 20 feet tall lotuses had to look up at them, which stimulated many people's battle intent. End of chapter. Chapter 4405. I still have a chance. I will definitely fight my way up. A temporary failure is nothing. Sooner or later, I will stand at the top and look down on others. Many people on the 2 feet tall lotus swore in their hearts. Everyone wanted to stand at the top and look down on others. The lotus seemed to be able to distinguish between the nobles and the lowly ones. Those standing on the 4 feet tall lotus dared not be careless. They secretly warned themselves that they had to continue winning because once they lost, others would appear above them and look down on them. They would have to look up to others. Just the simple rise and fall of the lotus had completely ignited the battle intent in everyone's hearts. Soon, the second round of the competition began. 2 4-feet-long lotus flowers flew toward the fighting ring. The first was the 4 feet tall area. Generally speaking, it was a 4 feet tall lotus flower against a 4 feet tall lotus flower. Only under special circumstances would there be a battle between lotus flowers of different heights. Hey, it's Bubbles! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He did not expect that it would be Bubbles' turn to fight in the first round of the second round. Bubbles' opponent was also a young prodigy of the heavenly human tribe. It's a space-time spirit mouse. She looks pretty good. The prodigy of the heavenly human tribe was very arrogant. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Bubbles indifferently. After a few words, he said, "Admit defeat. I don't want to bully a woman, especially a beautiful one." He had the right to be confident because he was considered a top prodigy of the heavenly human tribe with a 10-star combat power. He was just below the 9 heavenly daughters. Although the space-time spirit mouse could control time and space and was very talented, he still did not take it seriously. "You want me to admit defeat?" Bubbles was surprised. "That's right. Hurry up and admit defeat before you embarrass yourself," the prodigy of the heavenly human tribe said. If his opponent was not a woman and was a space-time spirit mouse, she could be considered as a member of the heavenly palace. That was why he gave her a chance. If she was a member of the Heaven Destroyer, he would have already attacked. He would not give her the slightest chance. Most of the Heavenly Human Tribe members at the scene were also relaxed and calm. They thought that they would definitely win this competition. However, a few of the Heavenly Human Tribe members looked a little gloomy. For example, Yichu Tianji, Yichu Qianwei and the others. They had fought with Bubble before and had seen her in action. They knew her strength very well. That was a genuine 11-star battle prowess. Moreover, it was the power of time and space, which was extremely difficult to deal with. On the battle stage, the Heavenly Human Race's prodigy actually asked Bubble to admit defeat. Wasn't this a joke? Wasn't this asking for humiliation? Yi Hanlin, admit defeat! Yichu Qianwei spoke. What? The sky pride of the Heavenly Human Tribe on the fighting ring was called Yi Hanlin. When he heard Yi Qianyue's words, he couldn't help but feel a little confused. Not only him, but the other members of the Heavenly Human Tribe were also dumbfounded. Yi Qianwei actually asked Yi Hanlin to admit defeat? What was going on? Is there something wrong with Chu Qianyue's head? Seeing Yi Hanlin standing there in a daze, Yi Chu Qianyue was secretly anxious. He knew that Bubbles was on Lu Ming's side. Once they made a move, Yi Hanlin might be humiliated again. Rather than being humiliated, it was better to just admit defeat. What are you standing there for? I told you to admit defeat. Hurry up and admit defeat, Yi Qianwei said. Admit defeat? That's impossible. Yi Hanlin shook his head and refused. Your Majesty, although you're an emperor, you can't ask me to admit defeat so easily. Don't worry. It's just a space-time spirit mouse. It's just a piece of cake. You're no match for her. Yi Qianyue's face darkened. What? This time, the crowd was even more shocked. What did Yi Qianwei say? Yi Hanlin was no match for Bubble? Yi Hanlin had a 10-star battle prowess. Could it be that Bubble also had a 10-star battle prowess? Or even stronger? Impossible. As far as they knew, among the Emperor gods of the space-time spirit mouse, none had a 10-star battle prowess. The strongest one only had a 9-star battle prowess. How could Yi Hanlin be no match for Bubble? Many people's first reaction was to not believe it. Yi Hanlin himself didn't believe it. Your Majesty, please believe in my strength. I'm confident in my own strength. I'll definitely win this match. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Hanlin charged toward Bubble and launched an attack, not giving Yi Qianwei a chance to speak. This idiot! Yi Qianwei shouted angrily. At this time, Bubble also made her move. Her small hands moved gently, and ripples spread out in the void. They were like pieces of mirrors that pressed down on Yi Hanlin. Yi Hanlin's speed suddenly slowed down. His body seemed to have sunk into a quagmire, and was met with great resistance. Heavenly Annihilation Energy, break! Yi Hanlin shouted. His Heavenly Annihilation Energy burst out and condensed into a battle saber. He slashed in all directions, trying to break through the space-time force. However, Bubble's current battle prowess had reached 12 stars. Her glabella shone as she activated the 2 origin ancient characters and pushed the space-time force to the extreme. Although Yi Hanlin's Heavenly Annihilation Energy was powerful, it couldn't break through the space-time force. The space that he could move in was constantly being compressed. The powerful space-time force from all directions continued to press down on Yi Hanlin. Arg! Damn it! How is this possible? Yi Hanlin shouted as he attacked madly. He was extremely shocked. He didn't expect Bubble to be so terrifying. Her space-time force was so powerful that even his Heavenly Annihilation Energy couldn't break through it. The Heavenly Annihilation Energy was extremely powerful. In the past, it could even destroy time and space. However, it was ineffective now. This also showed that there was no such thing as an invincible power. It depended on the user. When the quantity of a low-level power reached a certain level, it could still suppress a high-level power. Everyone else at the scene was also dumbfounded and tongue-tied. As long as they weren't fools, they could tell that Yi Hanlin was completely at a disadvantage. He was no match for Bubble. Now, they finally understood why Yi Chu Qianwei asked Yi Hanlin to surrender. It was because Yi Hanlin was no match for Bubbles. Yi Qianwei was thinking for Yi Hanlin. Unfortunately, Yi Hanlin didn't believe Yi Qianwei at first. It was too late for regrets now. Crush him! Bubbles shouted. She pressed her hands together, and the space-time force pressed down on Yi Hanlin. Puff! Yi Hanlin coughed out a mouthful of blood. He couldn't withstand it. Even the saber in his hand that was formed by the heavenly annihilation energy dimmed and collapsed. Immediately after, the space-time force wrapped around Yi Hanlin, preventing him from moving at all. Get lost! With a wave of his hand, Yi Hanlin's body was sent flying out of the fighting stage. Bubble didn't kill Yi Hanlin. She didn't humiliate him either, even though she wanted to. However, Bubble had her scruples. She had to be careful of the space-time spirit rats. If she went overboard, it would be disadvantageous to the space-time spirit rats. End of chapter. Chapter 4406. Flying out of the ring was tantamount to defeat. Yi Hanlin flew back to the lotus, and the lotus flew back to its original position. Its height began to decrease, from 40 feet to 30 feet. Bubble, on the other hand, rose from 40 feet to 30 feet, temporarily looking down on everyone. Damn space-time spirit rats! I'll wipe out your sect, wipe out your sect! Yi Hanlin kept roaring in his heart. He was furious. Although Bubble did not deliberately humiliate him, his performance before and after was still very embarrassing. At first, he was very confident. He asked Bubble to admit defeat as soon as he came up, as if he was sure to win. Later on, Yi Chu Qianwei asked him to admit defeat, but he did not agree. He still thought that he had Bubble in the bag, so he decisively attacked. In the end, he was easily defeated by Bubble. The comparison between before and after was a slap in the face. Instead, it was he who deliberately gave Bubble the slap in the face. No one could stop him. Therefore, although Bubble did not deliberately humiliate him, he was still full of hatred for Bubble. If Bubble had been defeated by him, this would not have happened. Would he have lost face? However, at this time, 2 more lotus flowers flew to the ring. The competition continued. It was a duel between 40 feet tall. The winner's lotus root rose to 50 feet, while the loser's lotus root fell back to 30 feet. The competition continued one after another. Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and Dandan had all competed. Their opponents were not very strong, so they defeated them easily. At the same time, Lu Ming also saw Ling Yue. She had taken a drop of the 5 elements fairy tear and had undergone a perfect evolution. Her strength was unfathomable, and she defeated her opponent easily. From time to time, she would sneak a glance at Lu Ming. However, when Lu Ming looked at her, she quickly averted her gaze, expressionless. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He had hurt another woman's heart, but he did not do it on purpose. Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and Dandan did not meet any strong opponents. The lotus root successfully rose to 50 feet tall. However, Yuling's luck was not very good. He met a strong opponent. Gabbert. Yes, coincidentally, Yuling met Gabbert in the second round. Heaven Destroyer? Very well, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Gabbert sneered and spread his 12 golden wings. The golden holy light seemed to be boiling. Nonsense, let's do it! Yuling could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Gabbert. He immediately attacked, transforming into a beam of sword light as he charged towards Gabbert. Kill! Gabbert also shouted. Golden holy light condensed into a golden battle sword and slashed at Yilin. The 2 dazzling sword lights met in the air, and a shocking explosion burst forth. The place where the swords collided was like a sun exploding. Endless sword chi spread out in all directions, leaving fine sword marks on the fighting ring. However, these sword marks quickly disappeared. This battle platform seemed to have a self-healing function. Cracks or marks could be repaired automatically. Amidst the sword light that filled the sky, a figure retreated several hundred meters. It was Yi Ling. As for Gabbert, he did not move at all. In the previous exchange, Yi Ling was actually at a disadvantage. Even Lu Ming was surprised. Gabert's combat strength has increased so much. Even Yi Ling is no match for him. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming had met Gabert when he had just entered the second level of the Taishang Immortal City. At that time, Gabert's combat strength was only 6 stars. Now, it had reached such a terrifying level. Yi Ling's combat strength had reached the limit of 9 stars. Gabert could suppress Yi Ling, which was enough to show that Gabert's combat strength had reached 10 stars. This was close to the combat strength of the Heavenly Princess. It was absolutely shocking. There were not many Emperor gods in the entire universe. Great! When the angels saw this, they could not help but cheer loudly. They were very excited. Heaven Destroyer Prodigy, die! Gabert was extremely excited. He shouted and continued to attack Yi Ling. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out from Yi Ling's body. He turned into a sword light and flew in another direction. He was no match for Gabert in a head-on collision. Then, he could only use a wandering method to slowly exhaust his opponent's strength. Having a higher combat strength by 1 star did not mean that he would definitely win. Those who had a lower combat strength by 1 star did not necessarily lose. Under certain circumstances, there was still a possibility of a comeback. Of course, in a head-on collision, having a higher combat strength by 1 star would definitely give him an overall advantage. Therefore, Yi Ling did not want to clash head-on with his opponent. If he could exhaust his opponent's strength, he would have a chance of winning. Humph, you want to use this method to deal with me? How naive! Holy light judgment! Gabert roared. Holy light erupted, and a huge cross condensed in the sky. Lu Ming had seen it when he fought Gabert. Gilbert trained in a single type of divine power, but he had mastered 2 types of quintessence secret arts. The Holy Light Judgment Cross was one of his origin secret techniques. However, it was pure white at that time. Now it was golden. Its power was countless times more terrifying than before. The golden cross floated in the air, emitting a dazzling holy light that enveloped every corner of the fighting ring. Then, beams of light flew out from the cross of holy light. These beams of light were sharper than the sharpest sword, and they were aimed at Yi Ling. Although Yi Ling was very fast and kept flashing on the fighting ring, there were too many beams of light flying out from the holy light cross. They were densely packed and covered the entire fighting ring. It was difficult to count. Yi Ling could not avoid all of them. He could only block with his sword. Clang! 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 The sound of swords clashing rang out continuously. In the blink of an eye, there were dozens of clashes. After dozens of clashes, the sword light that Yi Ling had transformed into suddenly trembled and collapsed. His body emerged and retreated rapidly. There was a bloody hole in his chest. It was clear that he had been pierced by the beams of the holy light cross. Die! Gabert shouted and continued to control the holy light cross. More beams of light blasted towards Yi Ling. Yi Ling did not hesitate. He turned around and rushed out of the fighting ring. He was giving up the battle and admitting defeat. You must die once! Gabert shouted coldly. His eyes flashed with cold, killing intent. He would not let Yi Ling escape from the fighting ring so easily. This time, he wanted to make a name for himself and catch the attention of the important people in the Heavenly Palace. From then on, he would become the core of the Heavenly Palace. This was his goal. Every one of his opponents would become his stepping stones, especially Yi Ling, a prodigy from the Heaven Exterminating Troop. A blood-red sword appeared between his eyebrows. This was Gabert's second origin secret technique, Holy Light Sanction. Swoosh! The blood-red sword light pierced towards Yi Ling. Chapter 4407. Holy Light Sanction was Gabert's second origin secret technique. It was even more powerful than the first origin secret technique. The Sanction longsword was blood-red. It blended in with the light beam and pierced toward Yi Ling's forehead at an alarming speed. Yi Ling was already injured. Furthermore, he had to focus on defending against the Holy Light Cross. He could not dodge the Sanction longsword. Pooh! The longsword pierced through Yi Ling's forehead and killed Lu Ming. Luckily, this was the area covered by the Taishang Immortal City. With the protection of the special lotus, he could revive. Yi Ling quickly revived on the lotus. However, he looked pale and his breath was weak. Gabbert did not even look at Yi Ling. Instead, he held the sanctioned long sword and pointed it at Lu Ming. He said in a cold voice, "Lu Ming, it will be your turn soon. That's what I wanted to say to you." Lu Ming replied coldly. "Hee hee." Gabbert chuckled. He took a step forward and returned to the lotus. His refined rhizome had grown to 15 meters tall. The competition continued. After a while, it was finally Lu Ming's turn. However, this time, Lu Ming's opponent was very weak. He was not from the heavenly human tribe but from another large tribe. His opponent was a strong man. He was a 9th-level godly god with a 5-star battle power. This kind of ability was considered top-notch among the god thearchs in the universe. However, compared to someone like Lu Ming, the difference was too great. Facing Lu Ming, this person did not dare to fight and immediately admitted defeat. Lu Ming won easily. The lotus roots under Lu Ming's feet had also reached 5 feet. Only a few of the later matches piqued Lu Ming's interest. These matches were between top-notch geniuses. One of them was Di Jiani. Di Jiani was up against a top-notch genius on the Universe Prodigy list. This genius was ranked 15th on the Universe Prodigy list. Without a doubt, he was a top-notch genius with a 9-star battle power. However, when he was up against Di Jiani, he was instantly killed by Di Jiani. Yes, it had only taken one sword strike to kill an absolute genius ranked 15th on the Universe Genius list. At the same time that they were shocked, they also firmly remembered Di Jiani in their hearts. Di Jiani, no one had heard of this name before and no one had seen him before. However, when he attacked, he was extremely stunning. He definitely had the qualifications to compete for the last 130 places. This also made it clear that this time, in addition to the geniuses on the surface, there were also many dark horses. After the 4 Zhangtal competition, it was time for the 2 Zhangtal competition. The second round of the competition also required 18,000 matches, and it also took more than a month to finish all of them. After the competition this time, there were many changes to the scene. There were more areas of different heights. It was mainly divided into 3 areas. There were 9,000 people with lotus roots that reached 15 meters. None of them were 4 zhang tall. Those whose lotus roots were 10 meters long were the most numerous, numbering 18,000 people. He didn't have any with a height of 20 feet. He had 9,000 people with a height of 10 feet. In the first 2 rounds of the competition, no one was really eliminated. However, from the 3rd round onwards, there would be people eliminated. In the 9 Zhangtal area, half of the living beings were destined to be eliminated. This made the people in the 10 Zhangtal area have a strong fighting spirit, revealing the determination to fight to the death. Especially those who thought that they were talented but had bad luck in the first 2 rounds. They were even more eager to fight and were ready to fight. Very quickly, the 3rd round began. This round actually started from the 10 Zhangtal area. In the 10 Zhangtal area, 2 lotuses flew to the fighting ring and the 3rd round of the competition began. However, Lu Ming wasn't interested in watching. There weren't any strong experts in the 10 Zhangtal area. Even if there were people with bad luck, it was very rare for them to encounter strong opponents for 2 consecutive rounds. There weren't many people who could attract Lu Ming's attention. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the lotus, closed his eyes, and calmed his mind to comprehend the secret technique, hoping to comprehend a second secret technique that belonged to him. He could imagine that if he wanted to break through from the God-Emperor realm to the Divine Lord realm, he would have to comprehend his own secret technique. Moreover, it would have to be a stronger secret technique to break through the bottleneck and break through to the Divine Lord realm. He didn't want to waste any time. 7 or 8 days later, the competition in the 10 Zhangtal area ended. Among them, 4,500 people failed. The lotus roots completely disappeared, which meant that they were completely defeated. Although the people who were killed were resurrected, they were also sent out of the light barrier to stay with the spectators. The other 4,500 people were raised to 20 feet tall. Then, it was the three Jean-Tall area's turn. Lu Ming still didn't open his eyes to watch the competition, continuing to comprehend. There were 18,000 people in the three Jean-Tall area. It took more than half a month for the competition to end. 9,000 people were raised to the 4 Jean-Tall area, and the other 9,000 were lowered to the 2 Jean-Tall area. Finally, it was the 5 Jean-Tall area's turn. At this time, Lu Ming opened his eyes and began to observe. Although he had enough confidence now, he couldn't let his guard down. He wanted to see if there were any hidden experts who could pose a threat to him. The competition was carried out one after another. In this round, Autumn Moon and Dandan both met powerful opponents. Among them, Autumn Moon's opponent was a top-notch genius who had a 10-star battle prowess. He was also from the heavenly human tribe. But this time, Yichu Qianwei directly asked the heavenly human tribe genius to admit defeat. Although the heavenly human tribe's elite was extremely reluctant, he still admitted defeat after what had happened to Bubble previously. This was shocking. Could it be that Autumn Moon was as powerful as Bubble? Many people remembered Autumn Moon's performance in their hearts. Dandan's opponent was a burly man who had a 9-star battle prowess. He was easily defeated by Dandan. There were also some very powerful people in the prime of their lives. Among them, there were also top-notch geniuses. Of course, some of the top-notch geniuses in the prime of their lives had already stepped into the Divine Master realm. However, there were also some geniuses who suppressed their cultivation and didn't break through. Or because of various reasons, they couldn't break through. This kind of person also had terrifying battle prowess. After all, they had been cultivating for too long. Some of them had been cultivating for almost a star year. Therefore, Lu Ming wouldn't underestimate the prime of their lives. After this battle, Autumn Moon and Dandan successfully entered the eyes of everyone and were remembered. They were also regarded as existences who could almost enter the top 130. In this round, Xian Yanqing and Ling Yue didn't meet any strong opponents and successfully advanced. The lotus root rose to 6 Jean-Tall. Lu Ming's luck seemed to be very good. The opponent he met in this round wasn't strong. He easily defeated his opponent and won. In this round, the one who attracted Lu Ming's interest was Dark Knight Rose. She met an opponent with a 10-star battle prowess. This was a top-notch genius who was on the Heaven Destroyer's side. He was even more famous than Yi Ling. However, he was easily defeated by Dark Knight Rose. Chapter 4408. Dark Knight Rose easily defeated a prodigy with a 10-star battle power, which attracted everyone's attention and discussion. Even the Son of Heaven and Daughter of Heaven revealed shocked and grave expressions. The important figures of the Heavenly Palace who were watching the battle also looked at Dark Knight Rose. To be able to defeat a prodigy with a 10-star battle power so easily, one could imagine how terrifying her own battle power was. It was very likely that she had an 11-star battle power. One had to know that most of the sons and daughters of heaven only had an 11-star battle power. This battle power was comparable to that of the sons and daughters of heaven. There was a bubble that appeared before, which was obviously an 11-star battle power. Then there was the autumn moon. Yichu Qianwei directly asked a heavenly human prodigy with a 10-star battle power to admit defeat. It was suspected that he had an 11-star battle power. Including Dark Knight Rose now, there were 3 of them. What was going on? Was the world going to change? In the past, the sons and daughters of heaven who had an 11-star battle power were undoubtedly the dominators of their peers. It was difficult to find anyone who could match them in the entire universe. But now, there were 3 of them. Who knew how many of them had not used their full strength, and were still hiding their strength? For example, Dandan and Dijiani had both easily defeated 9-star battle power existences. It was hard to guess how strong they were. In addition, it was unknown whether Gabbert's battle power had reached its limit. This was unimaginable in the past. Many heavenly human prodigies' faces were particularly gloomy. This was not a good sign for the heavenly human tribe. The prodigies of the various races and factions were too powerful. They were comparable to the sons and daughters of heaven. In other words, when this group of prodigies grew to the peak, this group of heavenly human prodigies would not be able to suppress everyone. They would have opponents. This would seriously threaten the rule of the heavenly human tribe. If this was the case for every generation, sooner or later there would be a force that could rival the heavenly palace. No, the heavenly palace, or the heavenly human tribe, would never allow such a thing to happen. Unless it could be used by them. Some divine masters and even heavenly venerables of the heavenly human tribe glanced at the top prodigies and memorized them. No one knew what they were thinking. The third round also took more than a month to complete. After this round, the number of people had decreased by 4,500. The total number of people was only 31,500. These 31,500 people were mainly divided into 3 regions. In the area where the lotus roots were 6 zhang tall, there were 4,500 people. The number of people with lotus roots that were 4 zhang tall was 13,500. There were also 13,500 people with lotus roots that were 20 feet tall. The gap between them was getting bigger and bigger. There were 3 zones, and each zone had a height difference of 20 feet. Then, the third round began. This round started from the 20 feet area. By the time the competition was over, 6,750 people had descended to a height of 10 feet. Another 6,750 people rose to a height of 10 meters. Then, the competition began in the 40 zhang zone. After the competition ended, 6,750 people went down to the 30 zhang zone. In this way, the total number of people in the 3 zhang zone had reached 13,500. The remaining 6,750 people had leveled up to the 5 zhang zone. After the 4 zhang zone ended, it was time for the 6 zhang zone, which was where Lu Ming was. This time, Lu Ming's opponent was still not strong. Without any pressure, he won. This time, Xian Yanqing met a powerful prodigy with 10 stars. He was ranked in the top 10 on the universe prodigy list. This person was naturally not Xian Yanqing's opponent, and was defeated by Xian Yanqing. This caused an uproar among the crowd. They were all shocked beyond words. There was one more person who could be compared to the heavenly princess. Yichu Tianji, Yichu Qianwei. A few people were less shocked because they knew Xian Yanqing's strength. Especially Yichu Tianji, who had fought with Xian Yanqing before and knew how terrifying Xian Yanqing was. As for Lu Ming's acquaintances, Dark Knight Rose, Di Jiani, Yin Zhioling, and others, they did not meet any strong opponents. They all successfully leveled up their lotus roots by 10 feet to 20 feet. After this round, according to the height, there were a total of 4 zones. There were 2,250 people in the 20-foot zone. There were 9,000 people in the 50-foot zone. There were 13,500 people in the 30-foot zone. There were 6,750 people in the 10-foot zone. The 4 zones were divided into 4 grades. Lu Ming and the others were in the 70-foot zone, which naturally belonged to the first grade and also the strongest grade. Yi Ling and the others were in the 50-foot zone, which belonged to the second grade. The 30-foot zone belonged to the third grade. The 10-foot zone belonged to the fourth grade. Following that, there would be more and more grades, and the gap would become bigger and bigger. Soon, the 5th round began. In this round, another 3,375 people in the 10-foot zone were eliminated. Then it was the 30-foot zone, and then the 50-foot zone. In this round, Lu Ming still did not meet a strong opponent and still defeated his opponent easily. In this round, there were people who were not very famous, such as Ling Yue and Yin Zhioling, who had defeated strong opponents. After this round, there were still 4 grades. However, there was a big change in the number of people. Lu Ming and the others were in the first grade, and there were only 1,125 people left. The second grade had 5,625 people. Then, the 6th round began. As the competition continued, there were more and more rounds, and there were more and more grades. However, there was basically no point in competing for those at the back. It was impossible for those with real strength to be so unlucky and lose all the time. It was almost impossible for those at the back to compete for the first 130 places. Only those at the first 2 grades could compete for the first 130 places. For example, Yiling, Bubbles, or the 10-star prodigies from Autumn Moon, they were all in the 2nd grade and had a high chance of competing for the 130 places. Not many people paid attention to those at the back. Of course, according to the rules, the competition still had to continue. It was just that some people had lost their fighting spirit, and some people still hoped to climb up. The competition went round after round. Of course, in the later rounds, there would be odd numbers. For example, from the 6th round onwards, there were odd numbers in the 1st and 2nd grades. In this case, the odd number in the 2nd grade would challenge the odd number in the 1st grade. If the challenge was won, the person in the 2nd grade would successfully be promoted to the 1st grade. Just like that, round after round went on. Lu Ming's luck suddenly exploded. Since the 1st round, when he met the 9-star heavenly human, he had not met a strong opponent. The lotus root rose all the way. Chapter 4409. 80 feet, 90 feet, 100 feet. The number of people in the first 2 levels was decreasing. The number of people in the first level went from 1,125 to 562, then to 281. The number of people in the 2nd level was decreasing as well. When the number of people in the first level was reduced to 70, the old voice sounded again. At this point, the rules of the competition need to be changed. I now announce that the 70 people in the first level will all enter the 130 spots and obtain the opportunity to connect to the universe C. The remaining 60 people will be selected from the 2nd level. The 2nd level will be a tag team battle. The 60 people with the best battle records will also be selected. After the 130 spots are selected, the specific ranking battle will begin. As for the rest, they will all be eliminated. The old voice announced a series of new rules. Then, starting from the 3rd level, everyone was sent out by a force. Obviously, these people had been eliminated. However, these people did not have any objections. They just sighed. This was because they already knew that it would be difficult for them to rush up and enter the top 130 spots. Then, the 2nd level began the tag team battle. Everyone had to fight with others and then see their battle records. The person with the best battle record would enter the top 130 spots. Fierce battles broke out. This tag team battle went on for more than a month. In the end, 60 people stood out and entered the top 130 spots. These 60 people were the best of the best. Many of them had a 10-star battle power. In fact, most of the 70 people in the first level had a 10-star battle power. In the entire universe, there were many who had a 10-star battle power. For example, the top 10 on the universe prodigy list almost all had a 10-star battle power. On the Heaven Destroyer side, there were more than a dozen who had a 10-star battle power. Of course, the celestial race had the most. There were at least 60 or 70 people with a 10-star battle power. In addition to Dark Knight Rose and the others, there were close to 100 people with a 10-star battle power. These people with a 10-star battle power were almost all guaranteed to enter the top 130 spots. In other words, those with a 10-star battle power and below could only compete for about 30 spots. One could imagine how fierce the competition was. Yiling had a 9-star battle power. In the end, after fierce battles, he finally succeeded in entering the top 130 spots. This way, the 130 people who were qualified to connect to Universe Ocean and comprehend the seed of origin were all selected. However, the competition wasn't over yet. This was because when connecting to Universe Ocean, the location was also very important. Different locations had different effects of connecting to Universe Ocean, and there were both good and bad effects. Some positions would be more effective, while others would be less effective. These positions all needed to be competed for. 130 slots, divided into 5 different ranks. The higher the level of the position, the better the effect of connecting to Universe Ocean, and the faster the speed of comprehending the seed of origin, the higher the probability of condensing the seed of origin, and the bigger the seed of origin. Among them, there is only one spot for the first level, and it will be taken by the strongest person. There are 3 spots for the second level, which will be taken by the second to 4th place. There are 9 spots for the third level, which will be taken by the 5th to 13th place. There are 36 slots for the 4th level. There are 81 slots for the 5th level. The old voice gave a detailed introduction. There were exactly 130 slots for the 5 ranks. Many people's eyes lit up, and there was a greedy gleam in their eyes. There were 5 ranks, and they all wanted to rush to a higher rank. They didn't dare to hope for first place or the second level, but they could hope for the 3rd and 4th levels. Among the 130 people, no one wanted the 5th level. This was because the 5th level had already been decided. No matter what, they could get it. Naturally, they wouldn't think about the 5th level, and they all wanted a higher level. It didn't mean that one of the 130 slots would be able to comprehend the seed of origin. No, it wasn't that easy. That was the origin, which could only be comprehended by those in the origin realm. How difficult was that? Even if it was just the seed of origin, the difficulty was very high. It wasn't as if one could comprehend the seed of origin with just 1 slot. Some people still couldn't comprehend the seed of origin. However, the higher the level of the position, the better the effect, and the higher the probability of comprehending the seed of origin. Even if the seed of origin was comprehended, there were differences in quality and size. Therefore, the higher the position, the better. For example, Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye's eyes shone brilliantly. Their goal was to be first place. For the heavenly daughters like Yi Chu Tianwe, their goal was to be in the second level, the 3 slots. Everyone had their own goal. However, Lu Ming only had one goal. First place. Buzz. At this moment, the huge battle platform shook. Lines appeared on the surface of the battle platform. No, they were cracks. These cracks divided the battle platform into 7 pieces. Crack, crack. The battle platform split into 7 pieces along the cracks and flew in all directions. They floated in the air and began to expand. In the end, 7 battle platforms appeared in the air. Next, the 130 people will be divided into 7 groups. There will be 4 groups of 19 people and 3 groups of 18 people. You will take turns to fight against others on the battle platform. The 7 people with the best results on each battle platform will advance to the top 49. The old voice sounded again, explaining the rules of the competition. The top 49 happened to be in the first 4 levels. In other words, if they could win this round, they could at least enter the first 4 levels and surpass the 5th level. As soon as the old voice sounded, the lotuses under everyone's feet began to move. Lu Ming flew to the battle platform in the middle. There were 19 people and 19 lotuses surrounding the battle platform. The other 6 battle platforms were about the same. There were either 19 or 18 people surrounding their respective battle platforms, separated by a distance of 100 miles. The 19 people on the middle battle platform immediately sized each other up. Because they were all opponents, they had to fight one by one. Yue, Gabbert, and Yi Chu Qianwei. What a coincidence! Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he saw a few familiar faces. Ling Yue, Gabbert, and Yi Chu Qianwei were all on this battle platform. Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and Wan Xin were on other battle platforms. End of chapter. Chapter 44:10. Fortunately, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Wan Xin, Dandan, and Bubbles were not on the same stage. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, your luck is not very good. We are finally going to meet. This time, I will make you very miserable. Gabbert laughed and stared at Lu Ming. His eyes were cold and filled with cold killing intent. When he thought of the pain of losing his wings last time, his hatred for Lu Ming was about to explode. Last time, he had lost his wings and escaped. He was seriously injured and his vitality was greatly damaged. If he had not encountered a great opportunity later, his talent would have been reduced. He was always thinking about revenge and making Lu Ming suffer a fate worse than death. Now, he and Lu Ming were finally on the same stage. His chance had finally come. Everyone in the fighting ring had to exchange blows with each other. He and Lu Ming would have to face each other sooner or later. His chance for revenge had come. Last time, you broke your wings and escaped. This time, I will break your wings with my own hands, Lu Ming said. His voice was indifferent and full of contempt. This made Gabbert's eyes even colder. Yichu Qianyue's eyes were also cold. Lu Ming, there are a lot of people who want to kill you. It seems that you will die several times in this round of battle, Yichu Qianyue said. His meaning was obvious. Gabbert would kill him once, and he would also kill Lu Ming once. You are all very confident. I look forward to you being able to maintain this confidence until the end, Lu Ming said with a smile. Don't worry, you will see, Yichu Qianyue said. As for Ling Yue, she did not speak from beginning to end. Occasionally, she would look at Lu Ming with a complicated expression. The other stages were similar. They were all sizing each other up. In particular, the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Human Tribe cultivators were exchanging insults with each other. The battle hadn't even begun, and there was already a strong scent of gunpowder in the air. The spectators outside were also discussing, guessing who would be able to enter the top 49, the top 13, and the top 4. However, no one was optimistic about Lu Ming. This was because Lu Ming's cultivation was too low. Even though Lu Ming's fighting strength was terrifying, he had the strength of 12 stars, but he only had the strength of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. Even though Lu Ming had 12-star fighting strength, he was only as strong as a cultivator of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. With such combat strength, being able to enter 130 places was already considered lucky. There was a great element of luck involved. One had to know that among these 130 people, there were close to 100 people who possessed 10-star battle prowess. The other 30 or so people possessed 9-star battle prowess. In fact, there were at least several hundred people who possessed 9-star battle prowess. Only 30 out of hundreds of people had entered 130 places. Apart from strength, there was also a certain element of luck involved. Therefore, most people thought that Lu Ming would stop there. It was impossible for him to enter the top 49. Begin! The old voice sounded again. Afterward, 2 lotus flowers flew toward the fighting ring where Lu Ming and the rest were. One of them was Lu Ming. Coincidentally, the other person was Gabbert. Even Lu Ming himself was a little surprised. Although he knew that he would meet Gabbert sooner or later, he didn't expect to meet him in the first round. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, it seems like God is helping me. Gabbert laughed and landed on the stage. Is that so? Are you sure God is helping you? Lu Ming revealed a mocking smile and stepped onto the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you're very confident. I hope you won't admit defeat, Gabbert said. Don't worry. There's no such thing as admitting defeat in my eyes, Lu Ming replied indifferently. Very well. Gabbert showed a ferocious look. As soon as he finished his word, he rushed towards Lu Ming. On his back, 12 angel wings emitted a dazzling golden light. The golden holy light boiled and turned into 2 golden holy light swords, slashing towards Lu Ming's shoulders. He wanted to cut off Lu Ming's arms to avenge his broken wings. However, before his sword gleam could hit him, Lu Ming moved and disappeared from his original spot. He appeared on the other side of the fighting ring. His speed was so fast that he dodged Gabbert's attack perfectly. Gabbert, use all your strength. Even if you lose, I'll make you admit defeat, Lu Ming said lightly. There was a strong sense of contempt in his voice. Gabbert's anger surged. The golden holy light burned like a golden flame. Holy light judgment, holy light sanction, Gabbert roared. A golden cross appeared above his body. In addition, there was a blood-red long sword. At this moment, Gabbert unleashed his combat strength to its peak. He used 2 origin source secret techniques at the same time. 10-star combat strength. When Gilbert pushed his battle prowess to its peak, he had completely stepped into the 10-star level. Previously, he had used this move to kill Yi Ling in one fell swoop. Lu Ming, I'm going to blast you to smithereens with one move. Die! Gabbard roared. The golden holy light cross pressed down on Lu Ming. Thousands of light beams pierced towards Lu Ming like sharp swords. At the same time, the blood-red sanctioned longsword was launched. It was mixed in with the thousands of light beams and pierced towards Lu Ming's forehead. The two origin source secret techniques complemented each other perfectly. It was very dangerous. However, Lu Ming's expression was normal. He allowed the two attacks to approach him. When the two attacks were only 10 meters away from him, Lu Ming made his move. Boom! His body erupted like a volcano, releasing a terrifying aura. Then, Lu Ming threw out a punch. The violent energy was like an avalanche as it blasted forward. Wherever the fist energy passed, the holy light beams were all destroyed. Finally, the fist energy hit the sanctioned longsword. The sanctioned longsword shook violently and was shattered. The fist force didn't stop there. It continued to bombard the golden cross of holy light, causing it to explode. With one punch, all of Gabbard's attacks were destroyed. Puff! Gabbard's body shook violently. He retreated and coughed up blood. 9th level Divine God! Gilbert let out a roar of disbelief and shock. Indeed, a moment ago, Lu Ming had revealed his cultivation base of the 9th level Divine God layer. In an instant, his strength had increased tremendously. Gabbard could not resist at all. He had been severely injured in one move. What? 9th level Divine God layer? How is that possible? I just observed carefully. Lu Ming's cultivation base is only of the 8th level Divine God layer. He must have used some special method to hide his aura. How terrifying! Lu Ming's cultivation base is of the 9th level Divine God layer. Then, with his fighting strength of 12 stars. At the thought of this, many people sucked in cold breaths of air, revealing deep shock. 9th level Divine God layer, 12 stars of fighting strength, how terrifying was that? Who could defeat him? End of chapter. Chapter 44:11. A 9th level Emperor God with 12 stars of fighting strength. That was terrifying. It was said that there were such people in the heavenly human tribe, but they were rare. Lu Ming had reached such a level? How is this possible? Around the fighting ring, Yichu Qianyue's body shook violently. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Such battle prowess was already above his. He found it hard to accept. Because he had acted high and mighty in front of Lu Ming, as if he could defeat Lu Ming. He had even said that he would kill Lu Ming. But now, Lu Ming's fighting strength was not something he could deal with. How was he going to face Lu Ming in the future? For a moment, Yichu Qianyue's mind was in a mess. Buzz! Around the other fighting ring, the long sword behind Di Jianyi's back buzzed. The sword chime reverberated through the sky. His eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. Both he and Lu Ming had come from the small Kiliacosm. They had come from a small place in the primitive universe. Di Jianyi had always wanted to defeat Lu Ming and prove that he was the first person to come from the small Kiliacosm. But when he saw Lu Ming's current fighting strength, he felt great pressure. Interesting. No wonder I think highly of him. It's a pity. Dark Knight Rose's eyes shone with a strange light. Amazing. Ha! As for Wanshin, he clapped and laughed. He was close to Lu Ming. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier he was. Lu Ming did not care about what the people around him thought. At this moment, he had disappeared from where he was and pounced on Gabbard. Fast, too fast. It was so fast that Gabbard could not dodge it. Get out of my way! Gabbard roared. His 12 wings emitted dazzling holy light and turned into 12 golden battle swords. They slashed at Lu Ming. This attack was very powerful. Gabbard had gone all out and burned his divine power. However, Lu Ming's fighting strength had reached 12 stars. His fighting strength was 2 stars higher than Gabbard's. 2-star battle prowess was much stronger. It was not something that could be equalized by risking one's life. Lu Ming's fingers formed a claw and grabbed down. His 5 fingers were like 5 spears, incomparably sharp. The claw caught the 12 golden swords. With a clang, the 12 golden swords exploded like rotten wood. The 12 golden battle swords exploded one after another. In the blink of an eye, all 12 golden battle swords had exploded. Lu Ming's claws had already grasped Gabbert's golden wings. "I've said it before, I'll personally break your wings," Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. "No!" Gabbert roared. However, Lu Ming had already made his move and tore with all his might. Puff! Blood splattered everywhere as golden feathers fluttered in the air. Gabbert's 2 golden wings had been forcibly torn off by Lu Ming. "Ah!" Gabbert screamed. His long hair fluttered in the wind. His aura was rapidly weakening. Wings were the most important part of the angel race. It was also where the angel race's talent and potential condensed. For the angel race, the more wings they had, the stronger their talent and potential. If one's wings were broken, it meant that one's talent and potential were broken. Not only would one's cultivation rapidly weaken, but one's potential would also weaken. The last time Gabbert broke his wings to escape, he was forced to do so. If he didn't escape, he would be killed by Lu Ming. Hence, he could only break his wings to escape. At that time, his vitality was greatly damaged. If he hadn't encountered a heaven-defying opportunity, he wouldn't have been able to recover at all. This time, his wings were broken again. Moreover, they weren't broken by himself. They were broken by Lu Ming. Last time, he encountered a good opportunity and recovered. Would there be such a good opportunity in the future? It was difficult. A heaven-defying opportunity could only be encountered by chance. Even though one could recover if one was killed on the lotus, one's potential that was severed could not be recovered. He was filled with hatred. He roared and stared at Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, you deserve to die. You deserve to die. Sooner or later, I will take my revenge 10 times or 100 times. Gabbert kept roaring as if he had gone mad. Damn it! Among the spectators outside, there were also experts from the angel race. At this time, they were also roaring. Gabbert was in existence who had awakened the Angel King bloodline. Such a bloodline was too rare. In the history of the angel race, there were only a few people who could achieve it. As long as Gabbert grew to the peak in the future, there would be one more overlord in the universe. His strength would be unparalleled. The strength of the angel race would definitely be stronger. They might even be able to suppress the other 8 races of the top 10 seeds. But now, Gabbert's wings were broken. His talent and potential were weakening. This was a huge loss for the angel race. They were heartbroken. Naturally, their hatred for Lu Ming was monstrous. "Why are you screaming? I'm not done yet," Lu Ming said indifferently. He immediately grabbed Gabbert's second pair of wings with both hands. Gabbert's screams stopped abruptly. His eyes were filled with fear. Lu Ming wanted to break his other wings. Breaking one pair of wings had already caused irreparable damage to him. Breaking the second pair of wings would cause even greater damage to him. "No, no, no!" Gabbert screamed in horror. However, Lu Ming didn't show any mercy. On the other hand, if he fell into Gabbert's hands, Gabbert would definitely deal with him 10 times or 100 times more ruthless. There was no need to show mercy or sympathy to the enemy. Asterisk puff. Asterisk Lu Ming tore Gabbert's second pair of wings with force. Gabbert was like a deflated balloon. His aura quickly weakened and the light in his eyes dimmed. "No, don't die!" Gabbert screamed in agony. He wanted to admit defeat. However, how could Lu Ming let him admit defeat so easily? A powerful force surged over and completely controlled Gabbert. Gabbert couldn't utter a single word. Gabbert struggled with all his might. There was only fear in his eyes. Lu Ming's claws were already grabbing Gabbert's third pair of wings. "Stop it! Stop it! Are you declaring war on the angel race? I swear, if you continue to attack, the angel race will not rest until you are dead!" A few divine lords of the angel race shouted. Their eyes were red. If Lu Ming continued to break Gabbert's wings, Gabbert's Angel King bloodline would really be crippled. "Not rest until you are dead?" I'm so scared. Lu Ming mocked, but his hands didn't stop. He tore off Gabbert's third pair of wings. Gabbert's aura became even weaker. He collapsed to the ground. However, Lu Ming still didn't stop. He reached for Gabbert's fourth pair of wings. Although he couldn't kill Gabbert here, he could cripple him. Lu Ming didn't have the habit of leaving his enemies alive. Splat! 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 Lu Ming continued to attack, tearing off Gabbert's last 3 pairs of wings. Gabbert's aura was extremely weak. He was completely crippled. Chapter 44:12. After breaking all of Gabbert's wings, Lu Ming kicked Gabbert's head and killed him. In the next moment, Gabbert came back to life on the lotus. However, his aura was extremely weak and his eyes were dim. There was only fear and deep hatred for Lu Ming. His 6 pairs of wings were all torn apart. It was too much damage to him. Even if he could recover and regain his previous talent, he would be lucky. Now that he had the Angel King bloodline, he could forget about it. Lu Ming, Lu Ming, Lu Ming! Gabbert kept growling. His hatred for Lu Ming was monstrous. However, Lu Ming didn't even look at him. He returned to the lotus and looked at the other battles in the distance. This guy. At this moment, Yi Chuqianyue's heart was trembling. When he looked at Lu Ming, there was a hint of fear in his eyes. Yes, he was a little scared. He was afraid that he would end up like Gabbert if he fought with Lu Ming. His heart was in a mess. The battle continued. After Lu Ming left the fighting ring, 2 more lotuses flew toward the fighting ring. This time, it was a genius with a 10-star combat strength against a young man with a 9-star combat strength. There wasn't much suspense in this battle. The difference of 1 star of battle power was also a huge gap. Although there was a difference of 1 star of battle power, it was not impossible to make a comeback. However, there were very few people who could make a comeback. It was very difficult to turn the tables when one's combat strength was lower than the others by 1 star, unless their attributes were mutually restrained and they had a secret technique to restrain their opponent. In less than 10 moves, the 9-star combatant was defeated. In fact, there were only 4 9-star combatants in Lu Ming's fighting ring. After all, there were only about 30 9-star combatants in total. They were divided among the 7 fighting rings. There were about 4 or 5 9-star combatants in each ring. The rest of the combatants were all 10-star combatants. It could be said that every battle was a battle between the best. The battles on each battle platform were very exciting. The competition continued one after another. If there was a great disparity in strength, such as the difference in star-level combat power, the victor would be decided very quickly. However, if they had the same star-level combat power, they would usually have to go through a fierce battle to determine the winner. Most of the time, those with a combat strength of 10 stars would run into each other. After all, there were very few who had a combat strength of 11 stars. Not long after, Ling Yue went on stage. Her opponent was a brawny man with 10 stars of battle prowess from the celestial race. This time, Ling Yue displayed an astonishing battle prowess. A holy elven tree appeared and took root in the void. It was as if it had merged with Ling Yue, and a huge amount of essence energy surged into Ling Yue's body. Ling Yue drew her bow and shot an arrow. With merely a single arrow, that heavenly human clan's robust man was killed. The path of archery didn't have so many complicated tricks. What it had was an incomparably terrifying attack power. Once they made a move, life and death would be determined in an instant. This arrow shocked everyone present. Even the heavenly venerables were alarmed. This was because the power of this arrow had completely reached 11 stars. Another peerless genius with a combat strength of 11 stars had appeared. Many people's hearts were unable to calm down. This time, it was really too crazy. Terrifying geniuses kept surging out, causing the people of the celestial race to feel immense pressure. The faces of the people of the celestial race were somewhat gloomy. At the scene, there were also some people from the elf clan. When they saw this scene, they were all ecstatic. This was the elf princess, their princess. The elf princess was so powerful. When her cultivation reached the peak in the future, she would definitely be able to lead the elf clan to become more and more powerful. In the future, perhaps they could squeeze into the top 10 and become one of the top 10 races? How could they not be happy and excited? The hearts of the elf clan were filled with anticipation. Then, it was Yichu Qianyue's turn. When Yichu Qianyue's opponent saw that it was Yichu Qianyue, a son of heaven, he directly admitted defeat. Soon, this round of the competition was over. The second round began, and it was Lu Ming's turn to go on stage again. This time, Lu Ming's opponent was a young man with a 9-star combat strength. When he saw Lu Ming, he admitted defeat very straightforwardly. Lu Ming had a 12-star combat strength. There was no need for him to fight at all. Rather than being killed and losing his essence energy, he might as well save his strength to deal with others. Lu Ming easily won 2 consecutive victories. Lu Ming was not interested in the competition behind Lu Ming's battle platform. This was because Lu Ming already had an idea of who was the strongest. On this battle platform, the strongest should be him, Ling Yue, and Yichu Qianyue. The others only had a 10-star combat strength. Lu Ming did not take it to heart. It was worth mentioning that Gabbert's wings had been broken, and his combat strength had been greatly reduced. He had become the weakest person on this battle platform. After that, he went on stage once and was easily defeated. At the end of this round, Ling Yue and Yichu Qianyue had also won. Then, the third round began. In this round, Lu Ming met an existence with a 10-star combat strength. The other party also admitted defeat very straightforwardly. Lu Ming easily won 3 consecutive victories. However, at this time, the battle on another battle platform attracted Lu Ming's attention. In fact, it also attracted the attention of others. This was because a pinnacle battle had unfolded there. Di Jianyi was facing a son of heaven. That son of heaven had a combat strength of 11 stars, but Di Jianyi also erupted with a shocking combat strength that had reached 11 stars. The two of them fought crazily and fought fiercely. After a few hundred moves, there was still no victor. This shocked everyone present. This was because another peerless monster had appeared, an existence comparable to the Son of Heaven. This was another peerless genius comparable to the Son of Heaven after Bubbles, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Ling Yue, Dark Night Rose, and Lu Ming. This level of genius was originally very rare, but now, one by one, they appeared like bamboo shoots after the rain. It was truly shocking. The key point was this still all? Probably not. Perhaps some people had yet to meet an opponent who could use their full strength and had yet to display their full strength. Some people were already numb. In the end, Di Jianyi and that Son of Heaven exchanged more than 500 moves, but there was no victor. Then, that old voice sounded, judging the two of them to be tied. This was the first battle between the Son of Heaven and Daughter of Heaven. And later, the number of battles of this level slowly increased. For example, Bubbles also met a Daughter of Heaven. The two of them exchanged more than 200 moves. In the end, Bubbles relied on the profoundness of the space-time power to slightly win. In a battle of the same level, the Daughter of Heaven was actually defeated. This made the faces of the heavenly human race extremely ugly. Later on, Dandan also met an opponent. However, his opponent was extremely terrifying. His combat strength had reached the limit of 11 stars. Even among the Son of Heaven and Daughter of Heaven, he was an extremely strong existence. After a great battle, Dandan was finally defeated with a weak disadvantage. Chapter 44:13. After some time, Xian Yanqing finally met a Son of Heaven. There were a total of 9 heavenly daughters in the 4 heavenly palace, and there were only 7 battle platforms. In other words, there would be at least 1 heavenly daughter on each battle platform. Sooner or later, they would encounter each other again. This battle caused a huge commotion. Everyone was stunned, including those in the Origin Realm. This was because Xian Yanqing had defeated the Son of Heaven in an unstoppable manner. It was too shocking. It was too unbelievable. Who in the world could defeat a Son of Heaven in an unstoppable manner? In the past, it was rumored that only the top figures among the heavenly daughters could do so, but now, there was one more. 12 stars of battle prowess. Needless to say, Xian Yanqing definitely had a 12-star battle prowess. There were countless geniuses in the world. After Lu Ming, another 12-star battle prowess had appeared. The faces of the divine masters and heavenly venerables of the heavenly human clan were already as gloomy as water. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing. 2 such heaven-defying figures had already appeared. Even in the history of the heavenly human clan, there were not many such figures. The current generation of the heavenly human clan could be said to be very lucky. For 2 such figures to appear at once was already a rare occurrence in hundreds of millions of years. But now, outside of the heavenly human clan, 2 such figures had appeared. This meant that the younger generation of the heavenly human clan could no longer suppress the people of the other clans. It was difficult for them to accept such a thing. This was because such a thing had only happened in a few eras in history. For example, in the era of Fei Huang and Tang Feng. In the end, the facts also proved that after the people of that era became successful, they caused a tremendous impact on the heavenly palace. This impact had not disappeared even now. It was still continuing. They would not allow such a thing to happen again. The eyes of the heavenly venerables of the heavenly palace flickered, revealing cold killing intent. We can't let these people go. That's right. Send the news back. No matter what, we have to transfer some people here. After the highest supreme immortal city disappears, we have to kill all these people. The heavenly venerables secretly discussed. Where are we going to find the manpower? Demons are launching frequent attacks in the dark universe right now. There are plenty of origin realm demons, so we need many experts to guard against them. I can only transfer them from the ruins of the universe. At worst, I'll give up a portion of the benefits. However, these people must be eliminated. Once they succeed and join forces with Fei Huang, Tang Feng, and the others, the danger is too great. That's right, I agree. Let's spread the news. After several Empyrean-level characters finished their discussion, someone secretly spread the news. After Xian Yanqing defeated a son of heaven, there was another battle that attracted everyone's attention. That was a battle between 2 heavenly humans. Of the 2 celestial tribe members, one of them was a son of heaven with an unparalleled battle prowess of 11 stars. As for the other heavenly human tribe member, she was not one of the 9 heavenly sons and heavenly daughters, so she did not attract the attention of others before. But this time, it attracted everyone's attention. Facing this son of heaven, not only did he not admit defeat, but he was also very relaxed and calm. After Son of Heaven's words made the other side concede to no avail, he directly attacked. However, the result of the battle stunned everyone. That Son of Heaven was actually at a disadvantage. Moreover, it was not just a little, but a complete disadvantage. He was suppressed the entire time. In less than 10 moves, that Son of Heaven was defeated. He coughed up blood and left the battle stage. Everyone was dumbfounded, and then there was an uproar. Of course, after the heavenly human tribe members were shocked, they were ecstatic. Because a dark horse had appeared in the heavenly human tribe, a peerless monster whose reputation was not very famous before. Even those Empyrean-level characters were ecstatic. What is this child's name? How come I've never heard of him before? A Empyrean asked. A peerless monster who could easily defeat a son of heaven? How come I've never heard of him before? Lord Empyrean, I know this child. His name is Yi Qiuxian. In the past, his performance was not particularly outstanding among the younger generation, so he was overlooked by everyone. Now, it seems that this child was too low-key in the past and knew how to endure. But now, he has shocked the world with a single feat and soared into the sky. A divine Lord Realm Heavenly Human hurriedly replied. Yi Qiuxian, good, good. The few Empyreans nodded and said good repeatedly. This Yi Qiuxian actually has such combat strength. Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye both frowned as they felt a strong pressure. To be able to defeat an 11-star Son of Heaven in just 10 moves, needless to say, Yi Qiuxian also had a 12-star combat strength, which was the same as them. Needless to say, the internal competition of the heavenly human tribe would be even more intense in the future. They had another strong opponent. More people were sighing. There were really too many experts this time. They kept appearing as if there was no end to them. In the past, 11-star combat strength was already the peak and was extremely rare in the entire universe. But now, there were one after another. Even 12-star combat strength, which could suppress an era in the universe, kept appearing. First, it was Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Now, even the heavenly human tribe had appeared. Many people sighed. This was an era of dazzling stars. It was an extraordinary era. It was very likely that the glorious era of 60 solar years ago would be recreated. 60 solar years ago, that era was also filled with dazzling stars. In the heavenly human tribe, experts were as common as clouds and terrifying sky prides. It was the same for the other tribes. There were even two taboos, Tang Feng and Flying Phoenix. That was an era of endless glory. In the end, the War of Annihilation broke out. Was such a glorious era going to be recreated? This person, Lu Ming carefully sized up Yi Qiuxian. For some reason, he felt a strong pressure in his heart. Yes, this was an automatic feeling. He felt that Yi Qiuxian wasn't a simple person. He probably hadn't revealed his true strength in the previous battle. Perhaps, this will be a terrifying opponent. A thought emerged in Lu Ming's heart. The heavenly human tribe was indeed not simple and couldn't be underestimated. At this time, Lu Ming had already gone through 9 rounds of the competition. He didn't make a move during these 9 rounds. Those who met Lu Ming directly admitted defeat. After all, the gap was too obvious. The gap between him and the others was at least 2 stars. If there was a gap of 1 star, they might still be able to put up a fight and win. But the gap of 2 stars was too big. The possibility of winning was extremely small. Lu Ming easily obtained 9 consecutive victories. On their battle stage, Ling Yue and Yi Qiuyue also easily obtained 9 consecutive victories. However, at the beginning of the 10th round, Lu Ming finally met an interesting opponent. Yi Qiuyue, you're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.